Why are you pinching me, Shui? Because I remembered those things from the past, although it had been a long time. Shui still felt a surge of grievance when recalling those past events. She continued, on the day I found out I was pregnant, I came back from the hospital and still managed to cook for you despite my morning sickness, but you just took a sip of the soup and left, staying out all night. I waited for you the entire night. Do you know how heartbroken I was? I know, I'm sorry, it was all my fault before, and I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Jiuzhua was filled with deep regret over his past actions. If time could flow backward, he would cherish every single moment spent with her. Chapter 148, Mother-in-law's Concern. After calming his excited emotions, Jiuzhua immediately took out his phone and called Li Peiji. Ziyue, calling me so early in the morning, is there something going on? Her son and daughter-in-law usually called her in the evenings, so receiving a call from her son at this hour left Li Peiji feeling somewhat surprised. Mom, I have something important I need to tell you both. Oh, what is it? Go ahead. Mom, Shui is pregnant. Jiuzua's voice carried a hint of excitement. Pregnant? Pregnant with what? In an instant, Li Peiji suddenly understood. Shui is expecting. Are you sure? We just bought a test kit and checked. It shouldn't be wrong. Oh my. This is truly wonderful news. Li Peiji immediately showed concern for her daughter-in-law. How is Shui? Is she feeling any discomfort? She's having really bad morning sickness and has no appetite for food. It must be tough for her. Is she going to the office today? Jiuzhua replied. There's nothing urgent today, so she plans to work from home. Alright then, I'll go check on her in a bit. Okay, Mom, that's it for now. I'm about to head out to the office. After hanging up the phone, Jiuzhua turned to Shui and said, Shui, my mom said she's coming over to see you later. Alright, I got it. Shui leaned against the pillow, feeling somewhat drowsy. Then I'll get ready to leave. I have an important meeting this morning, Jiuzhua reminded her. Rest well at home, and call me if anything comes up. Aunt Zhong is at home. Don't worry. She waved her hand lazily. Hurry up and go out. Not long after Jiuzhua left, Shui fell asleep on the sofa. After Aunt Zhong finished cleaning the kitchen, she saw her sleeping on the sofa, so she went upstairs to get a blanket and gently covered her with it. An hour later, the doorbell rang. Aunt Zhong, afraid the doorbell might wake Shui, hurried to the entrance and turned it off. Seeing it was Li Peiji through the screen, she quickly opened the door. After Li Peiji entered the foyer, Aunt Zhong put a finger to her lips and whispered, She's sleeping on the sofa. Okay, I'll be quiet. Li Peiji replied softly, tiptoeing as she changed into slippers. Actually, the doorbell had already woken Shui up, and she was lying on the sofa with her eyes closed, resting, hearing the footsteps getting closer. Shui opened her eyes and saw that it was Li Peiji who had arrived. She immediately propped herself up on her elbows and sat up. Shui, did I wake you up? Li Peiji's face showed a hint of self-reproach. Shui smiled and shook her head. Mom, it's fine. I was already awake before you came, just resting with my eyes closed. Li Peiji brought a lot of nutritional supplements and took them out of the bag to show Shui. Shui, I've prepared some things for you. This is folic acid, these are vitamin tablets. These are calcium tablets, and there's bird's nest and donkey hide gelatin syrup. Thank you, Mom. I was actually planning to go out and buy these in the next few days. Having been pregnant before, Shui naturally knew that various nutrients needed to be supplemented during pregnancy. Just let me know, and I'll prepare everything for you, Li Peiji said gently. These should last you 2 or 3 months. When you finish them, I'll bring you more. A slight smile curled at the corners of Shui's lips. Mom is so good to me, Tilda. Li Peiji gently patted the back of her hand, gazing at her with smiling eyes as she said, You went through so much hardship giving birth. What I've done is nothing. When you were carrying Chen Chen and 1111, I could imagine how difficult it must have been for you. Carrying one child is already exhausting enough, but with twins. By the 3rd trimester her belly was so large she couldn't even see her own feet when standing. Back then, there hadn't been anyone by her side. Thinking back now, Li Peiji still feels heartache for her daughter-in-law. Mom, with Ziyue by my side now, I feel truly happy. All the hardship has been worth it, Shui said. Li Peiji smiled warmly. Seeing how deeply in love you two are now brings me genuine joy. Have you made the hospital appointment yet? When is the prenatal checkup scheduled? Ziyue has already arranged everything. The tests require fasting. So we'll go first thing tomorrow morning. We'll have breakfast after the blood draw. Pei Li nodded gently. That's right. Jiang Yi is now the deputy director of Dekang Hospital. He can arrange everything with just a phone call. Shui Shen smiled softly. Yes, we plan to have the prenatal checkups at Dekang Hospital and also give birth there. Dekang Hospital is one of the top private hospitals in the country and is part of the Jiang family's business. Having connections there certainly provides more peace of mind. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law sat together chatting for a long time. All about pregnancy-related topics. Listening to Shun Shui's well-reasoned explanation, Li Peizhi realized she was quite knowledgeable and didn't press further. After accompanying Shun Shui for lunch, Li Peizhi reminded her to take good care of herself during pregnancy and get plenty of rest before finally leaving with her bag. Shun Shui worked in the study for over 2 hours until she was too exhausted to continue, then went back to her room for a nap. She slept for a long time. Jiyu Ziyue and the children had already returned home but didn't disturb her rest. Until 7:30 in the evening, Jiyu Ziyue, worried that she might be starving, finally went upstairs to the master bedroom and turned on the crystal chandelier. Shun Shui sensed the bright light and instinctively pulled the blanket higher. Turning over to continue sleeping, Jiyu Ziyue walked over, sat by the bed, lifted a corner of the blanket, and said in a gentle voice, "Shui, get up and have dinner first. You can go back to sleep afterward." "Okay." Shun Shui slowly opened her eyes, still clouded with drowsiness. She squinted her eyes at Jiyu Ziyue and asked softly, "Why are you back so soon?" "So soon? Look at what time it is now." Jiyu Ziyue smiled affectionately and extended his wrist toward her. Shun Shui glanced at the Vatran Constantine watch on his wrist and murmured, "Oh, it's already this late." Jiyu Ziyue stood up and poured her a glass of warm water. After finishing that glass of water, Shun Shui took his hand and went downstairs together to eat. "Mom, are you feeling unwell somewhere? Mom, are you feeling better now?" Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi, seeing Shun Shui come downstairs, both spoke up to ask about her health. Even Shirley was circling around her, wagging her tail adorably. "Feeling better?" Shunsha smiled and nodded, then asked about the children's situation at the kindergarten. After eating the light pregnancy meal prepared by Aunt Zhong, Shun Shui still vomited most of it. At this stage, everything you eat makes you uncomfortable, but you can't not eat. Jiyu Ziyue stayed by her side the whole time, gently patting her back, preparing water for her to rinse her mouth, and wiping the corners of her lips. His thoughtful care filled Shun Shui's heart with waves of warmth. During a woman's pregnancy, a man cannot share the hardships of pregnancy and childbirth. All he can do is care for her and look after her by her side. Chapter 149, accompanying her to the prenatal checkup. Early the next morning, at the underground parking lot of Yujiang Mansion, Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi sat in the back seat of a Rolls-Royce, waving through the window at Shun Shui and her husband. "Dad, Mom, we're off to school." "All right, be good at school." Watching the car drive away, Jiyu Ziyue turned and opened the passenger door. Shun Shui bent down and got into the car. Driving to Dekang Hospital, Jiyu Ziyue accompanied Shun Shui upstairs to the obstetrics and gynecology department. The doctor responsible for Shun Shui's examination was a Dr. Liu, the head of the obstetrics and gynecology department. Normally, it would be very difficult to get an appointment with her, but thanks to Jiang Yi's arrangements, they managed to secure one. A nurse led them into the consultation room, where Dr. Liu sat behind her desk, looking down at the medical records on the table. Hearing the sound of their footsteps as they entered, Dr. Liu looked up at them and smiled. "Mr. Jiyu, Mrs. Jiyu, please have a seat." "Hello." Dr. Liu. After Shun Shui and Jiyu Ziyue sat down across from Dr. Liu, the doctor opened several examination forms on the computer and handed them over. "Please make the payment on your phones first. Then proceed with these tests as listed. The nurse from earlier will accompany you throughout the process." Dr. Liu reminded them, if Mrs. Jiyu is hungry, she can go to the cafeteria for some breakfast after the blood draw, then proceed with the other tests. Once the results are ready, come back to see me. "All right, thank you, doctor." The couple expressed their gratitude and walked out with the examination forms. Nowadays, many hospitals allow direct payment via mobile phones. which has made things much more convenient. In less than 2 minutes, Ji Yuziwa had already completed the payment for the tests. The nurse took Shen Shuwei to draw blood, with Ji Yuziwa standing by his wife's side, holding her other hand. The first prenatal checkup involved many tests, requiring a total of 5 tubes of blood to be drawn. Seeing this, Ji Yuziwa once again showed a look of distress. She was already unable to eat properly due to morning sickness. And now she had to have so much blood drawn. It would take quite some time to replenish all that. After drawing blood, the nurse took them to the dining area to have some breakfast first. She would come back later to take Shen Shuwei for other tests. The hospital's dining area didn't resemble a typical hospital cafeteria. Instead, it was more like a hotel restaurant, with an excellent dining environment and a wide variety of dishes available. Unfortunately, Shen Shuwei didn't have much of an appetite. She only ate a bowl of lean meat porridge, accompanied by some corn and steamed buns. After breakfast, Ji Yuziwa accompanied Shen Shuwei to complete the remaining tests. After finishing the tests, they sat in the waiting area for the results. At this time, Jiang Yi took some time to visit the obstetrics and gynecology department, where all the doctors and nurses greeted him proactively. "Good afternoon, Vice President." Jiang Yi nodded to the doctors and nurses. "You all carry on with your work. I'm here to visit a friend." As Jiang Yi approached, Ji Yuziwa glanced at him with a smile and said, "Not bad, Deputy Director Jiang. No matter how you look at it, it's nothing compared to the prestige of President Ji Yu. Becoming a father again, Jing Zhon, and I can't even begin to catch up." Jiang Yi retorted to Ji Yuziwa, then turned his attention to Shen Shuwei and asked with concern, "Shuwei, have all the checkups been completed?" "Yes," Shen Shuwei nodded. "Thanks to your arrangements, all the tests were done quickly without any waiting." "Thank you, don't mention it. Your matters are my matters." Jiang Yi stood up and said, "I need to get going now, but let me know if you need anything." Shen Shuwei smiled and said, "All right, thanks for your hard work." Ji Yuziwa said to Jiang Yi, "Thanks, I'll treat you to drinks when I have time." "Okay, let's meet up when we're free," Jiang Yi said hurriedly before leaving. It didn't take long for the test results to come out. A nurse approached and asked them to move to the doctor's consultation room. Shen Shuwei and Ji Yuziwa stood up and entered the consultation room, sitting on the sofa across from Dr. Liu. Dr. Liu was intently reviewing Shen Shuwei's test results, so the couple sat quietly, waiting for the doctor to finish first. "Mrs. Ji Yu, all your physical indicators are normal," Dr. Liu said. "The pregnancy cycle is calculated from the first day of your last menstrual period. You are now 5 weeks pregnant, which means a little over a month." Shen Shuwei nodded. This was her second pregnancy, so she was already familiar with these basic facts. She asked the doctor, "Last time I was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. What about this time?" Dr. Liu replied, "This time, you're carrying one baby." Next, Dr. Liu explained in detail the schedule for future checkups and various precautions to take during pregnancy. The couple nodded from time to time, listening to Dr. Liu with great attention. After finishing the instructions, Dr. Liu took out her business card and handed it to them. "Mr. Ji Yu, Mrs. Ji Yu, feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions." Shen Shuwei reached out to take the business card, nodding with a smile. "All right, thank you, doctor." The prenatal checkup results were all normal, so Ji Yuziwa sent a message to Li Peiji to reassure the elderly woman that there was no need to worry. After sending the message, he placed his phone aside, gripped the steering wheel with both hands, and drove home with Shen Shuwei for lunch. After lunch, Shen Shuwei took a short nap in her room before heading out again with Ji Yuziwa. Apart from morning sickness and feeling easily tired, she didn't have any other discomforts, so there was no need to stay at home for prenatal care just yet. Ji Yuziwa drove her to the U group. Before she got out of the car, he repeatedly reminded her, "Shuwei, if you feel tired, take a break. Don't push yourself too hard. Call me anytime if anything comes up, and I'll come right away." "Millimeter, I know, it's my own family's company. Nothing will happen." Shen Shuwei smiled and opened the car door to get out. Shen Shuwei first went back to her office to put down her bag, then went upstairs to see old Master Yu. Knock, knock, knock. She raised her hand and knocked on the office door. "Come in." Hearing old man Yu's response, Shen Shuwei opened the door and stepped inside. After entering, Shun Shui then noticed that Shun Rui was also in Old Man Yu's office. "Brother, what are you doing here?" she asked with a delighted expression. "I'll be here from now on," Shun Rui said with a smile. "Grandfather isn't in good health, and you're pregnant now. It seems I'll have to come over early to take over and share some of the burden for you. Is everything all right with Hongyu Group? Have you sorted everything out?" "Everything's fine. It's all under control." Grandpa Yu looked at the siblings with affection and concern, saying, "Shui, is everything going well? Your pregnancy is the priority now. You can delegate company matters to your subordinates. There's no need to handle everything personally," Shun Shui replied softly. "I've already completed the first prenatal checkup today. The doctor said all indicators are normal. I'm just struggling with morning sickness. But otherwise, I feel fine." "That's good to hear." Grandpa Yu nodded slightly. "Your brother is taking over other branch companies. As for Heir Jewelry, you should find someone to temporarily take over your duties during your late pregnancy and maternity leave." Shun Shui immediately suggested her choice, Qiao Yang. "I believe Qiao Yang is capable of handling the role of general manager. Since I'm already a board member of the group, I can assist my brother in the boardroom after returning from maternity leave." Qiao Yang has strong work capabilities and a calm, composed demeanor, both professionally and personally. He is the best candidate, now that Shun Shui is pregnant and her energy is significantly diminished. She is considering stepping aside to let Qiao Yang take the position. Of course, she does harbor a bit of personal bias, intentionally promoting Qiao Yang to make his marriage with Shiyu proceed more smoothly. After all, the title of general manager does sound more impressive than deputy general manager. Chapter 150, Given the Cold Shoulder. There are only 3 days left until Jiyu Ziua and Shun Shui's wedding, and Jiyu Baiyang and his wife have finally flown back to Haicheng. Jiyu Ziua had originally planned to go to the airport with Jiyu Shiyu, but when he heard that Qiao Yang would accompany her, he decided not to go. The bond between Qiao Yang and Jiyu Shiyu grows deeper by the day, and it's highly likely that wedding bells will be ringing in the near future. Let this kind of thing that leaves a good impression be left to Qiao Yang to do. The Jiyu Ziua family of 4 and the elders were all at the old house, waiting for the young couple to bring Jiyu Baiyang and his wife home. Outside Haicheng Airport, Jiyu Shiyu excitedly held Qiao Yang's hand, standing by the railing at the airport exit. "Dad, Mom, we're here." Jiyu Shiyu waved eagerly as soon as she spotted her parents. "Here, over here." Shu Qing spotted Jiyu Shiyu first. She nudged Jiyu Baiyang with her elbow and said, "Our daughter is over there." Jiyu Baiyang followed the direction she indicated, his sharp gaze locking onto Qiao Yang. Qiao Yang wore his usual smile as he waved at the couple alongside Jiyu Shiyu. "Is that person standing next to Shiyu, Qiao Yang?" Jiyu Baiyang asked Shu Qing in a low voice. Shu Qing nodded and said, "Yes, that's him, Qiao Yang." Jiyu Shiyu had long reached the age for love and marriage after starting a relationship with Qiao Yang. She didn't hide it but instead openly shared the news with her family and friends. No matter what others thought, in Jiyu Shiyu's eyes, Qiao Yang was outstanding in every way. Before they began dating, Qiao Yang had no idea she was an heiress from a wealthy family. He definitely wasn't after her money. Shu Qing quickened her pace, opened her arms, and gave Jiyu Shiyu a hug. "Aunt Shu," Qiao Yang said with a gentle smile, then walked over and reached out to take the luggage from Jiyu Baiyang. "Uncle Jiyu, let me handle the luggage." Jiyu Baiyang kept a stern face and replied coldly, "No need, I'm not so old that I can't carry my own luggage." Qiao Yang quickly explained, "Uncle Jiyu, I didn't mean it that way. You must be tired after a 4-hour flight. Let me take the luggage." Shu Qing frowned. She hadn't expected her husband to treat Qiao Yang with such a cold expression. "Dad, I've missed you so much." Jiyu Shiyu stepped forward, linked arms with Jiyu Baiyang, and deftly snatched the suitcase from his hand before turning to hand it to Qiao Yang. Jiyu Baiyang curled his lips slightly and said, "You clearly missed your mom more. You hugged her the moment you saw her. I missed you both. I missed you both." Jiyu Shiyu raised her arms to hug her father. Mom wasn't carrying luggage, so she was just faster, that's all. The embrace and playful antics of his own daughter softened Jiyu Baiyang's expression slightly. "Where's the car parked?" "It's right in the open-air parking lot, just a short walk away," Jiyu Shiyu said cheerfully, linking one arm with Jiyu Baiyang and the other with Shu Qing as they headed out. Of course, she didn't forget to throw Qiao Yang a reassuring glance. understanding her intention. Xiao Yang smiled and nodded at her, signaling for her not to worry. When we arrived at the airport, we were driving Xiao Yang's Toyota. He opened the rear door with a smile and said, "Uncle Ji, Aunt Shu, please get in first." Xiao Yang pulled the suitcase to the back of the car and loaded the luggage into the trunk. Shu Qing got into the car and glared at Jiyu Baiyang, expressing her dissatisfaction with his cold demeanor earlier. Jiyu Baiyang pretended not to notice and turned to look out the car window. Jiyu Shiyu sat in the passenger seat, and after Xiao Yang finished loading the luggage, he also opened the car door and got in. After the car started moving, Jiyu Baiyang said, "I'm tired and want to sleep for a while." Because of his words, no one felt comfortable speaking up again. The car remained quiet the whole way, and the atmosphere felt somewhat awkward. More than half an hour later, the car drove into the Jiyu family villa. This was Xiao Yang's first time visiting the Jiyu family villa. The Jiyu family garden featured artificial mountains, fountains, and landscaped scenery, while the European-style building looked like a princess's castle. All of this was something Xiao Yang had only seen in TV dramas before. After the car stopped, Xiao Yang took the initiative to get out and retrieve the luggage. Jiyu Baiyang opened his eyes the moment the car stopped, clearly indicating he had most likely been pretending to sleep. Upon hearing the butler announce Jiyu Baiyang's return, everyone went out to greet the couple. A servant had already taken the luggage from Xiao Yang's hands and carried it into the villa. "Xiao Yang, it was really kind of you to accompany Shiyu to the airport to pick us up," Shu Qing said with a smile. "You should stay and have dinner with us," Jiyu Baiyang said indifferently. "Tonight is a family dinner. It might not be appropriate for outsiders to join us." He emphasized the word outsiders heavily, making it clear even to the dullest person that he disliked Xiao Yang. The rest of the Jiyu family happened to walk over just then and also heard Jiyu Baiyang's words. Shun Shui's heart skipped a beat. The current situation didn't seem good at all. Xiao Yang pursed his lips and said awkwardly, "Uncle Jiyu is right. I'll take my leave now." With that, he nodded politely to the others. Watching Xiao Yang drive away, Jiyu Shiyu felt extremely anxious. But with the elders present, she couldn't immediately chase after him. This was Jiyu Baiyang's first time meeting Chen Chen and 1111. Shun Shui quickly pulled the two children forward to greet him. "Uncle Grandpa Tilda, Chen Chen, 1111. Hello there." Jiyu Baiyang looked at Shun Shui and said, "Shui, I heard you and Ziyue have remarried and are now expecting a baby. What a double blessing. Your aunt and I are both very happy for you." Shun Shui smiled and said, "Uncle, Auntie, you must be tired after such a long flight. Let's go inside and chat comfortably." Good, good, good." Jiyu Baiyang and his wife, surrounded by everyone, walked into the living room and sat on the sofa. After the whole family, young and old, had taken their seats, they exchanged greetings once again. Shu Qing had returned for a visit a few months earlier, and Jiyu Baiyang hadn't been home for nearly 10 months since the Lunar New Year. The elder Mr. Jiyu asked his youngest son to sit beside him, and the father and son chatted about the trivial matters that had happened recently. After sitting down on the sofa, Jiyu Shiyu kept sending messages to Xiao Yang, telling him not to take it too seriously. Her father might just be a bit tired, which was why he acted that way. "Xiao Yang, it's fine, I won't take it to heart. Your parents rarely come back, so spend more time with them." Chapter 151. Can love withstand the test? As evening approached, Li Peizhi said to Shu Qing with a beaming smile, "As I mentioned on the phone earlier, I've set aside a spot in the garden to grow fruits and vegetables. Let me show you around, and we can pick some fresh produce for dinner." Shu Qing asked, It's cold now. Did you specially set up a greenhouse?" Li Peizhi nodded quite proudly. "Yes, it's all properly done. Come on, I'll show you." "Great. Let's go then." Shu Qing and Li Peizhi stood up, and the two little ones clamored to join them. Jiyu Shiyu wanted to get some fresh air, so she also pulled Shun Shui up to follow along. Stepping into the warm greenhouse and seeing rows of lush green vegetables planted in the soil, Shu Qing smiled and praised, "Sister-in-law, this is really wonderful. When our Baiyang retires, I'll keep you company and join you in tending to flowers and plants and working in the vegetable garden." Li Peizhi nodded gently. "That sounds great. I look forward to that day coming soon. We've been sisters-in-law for so many years, yet we've had very little time to actually spend together." Shu Qing said helplessly, "There's no other way. I can't just leave Baiyang, so I have to stay with him at the military base. By the way, did something happen at the airport? Li Peizhi asked. I noticed that your husband doesn't seem to like Xiaoyang very much. Shu Qing frowned slightly, shook her head, and said, nothing unpleasant happened. Xiaoyang even offered to help carry the luggage and opened the car door for us. That's strange. Why does he have such a strong opinion of Xiaoyang? You invited Xiaoyang to dinner, and he said Xiaoyang was an outsider. That sounds a bit hurtful. I don't know what he's thinking. He doesn't have time to talk about this now. I'll chat with him later. Shun Shuai and Jiyu Shiyu were also quietly discussing this matter. Jiyu Shiyu looked frustrated as she complained to Shun Shuai. When Xiaoyang met my parents, his speech and manners were impeccable, and my dad isn't the type to care about family background either. I really don't understand what aspect of Xiaoyang he's dissatisfied with. There's a saying, a mother-in-law looks at her son-in-law. The more she looks, the more she likes him. A father-in-law looks at his son-in-law. The more he looks, the angrier he gets, Shun Shuai said softly. Your dad might just fall into that category. Is that so? But you never faced this kind of situation. The words slipped out before Jiyu Shiyu could stop herself, and she immediately covered her mouth. Sis, I didn't mean it like that. It's fine. Shun Shuai smiled. I've long accepted the reality. Back then, my father only wanted me to marry your brother to secure investment funds and save his collapsing financial chain, so all he cared about was whether he could sell me for a good price. The only fortunate thing was that she married Jiyu Zeyue, and in the end, the two of them walked towards happiness together. Shun Shuai gently patted Jiyu Shiyu's shoulder, comforting her softly. Don't rush, your parents just came back. This needs to be taken slowly. Jiyu Shiyu nodded. Okay, sister-in-law. After your wedding with my brother, I'll find a time to arrange for my dad to meet Xiaoyang. Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi had been here many times, so they were already familiar with picking vegetables. They put on their arm sleeves, carried small baskets, and squatted down to start picking vegetables. Just as Shun Shuai was about to squat down, Li Peizhi, who was beside her, quickly said, Shuai, don't bother, there's a chair over there, you can sit and rest there. Shu Qing also added, yes, squatting down and standing up again can easily make you dizzy. You're pregnant now, so you need to be careful, Mom, Auntie. I'm not tired now, so I won't sit. I can stand here and watch you pick vegetables, and we can chat. Shun Shuai pouted. It would be so boring sitting there alone. Shu Qing asked while picking beans. Shuai, is everything ready for the wedding? Is there anything else we need to prepare? Everything is ready. Shun Shuai said with a hint of regret, but now that I'm pregnant, I have to swap my Jimmy Choo crystal heels for flats. Shu Qing reassured her. It's just bad timing with the pregnancy right before the wedding. At least you're not showing yet, so the custom-made wedding dress still fits. Li Peizhi chimed in with a laugh. Exactly, altering a dress to be smaller is manageable, but making it bigger would be a real hassle. After a while, several women and 2 children had picked a large pile of vegetables, which looked like enough to eat. Everyone went to wash their hands, then strolled around the garden before returning to the warm indoors. Since Jiyu Baiyang and his wife rarely came back, Grandpa Jiyu had the kitchen prepare many dishes, a table full of delicacies, in a lively and joyful atmosphere. The family enjoyed delicious food and toasted to each other. Jiyu Baiyang held his liquor well and loved to drink baijiu. Jiyu Yuanlin and Jiyu Zeyue, father and son, drank with him. Both turning red-faced and slightly tipsy, Shun Shuai still felt nauseous easily these days, so she didn't dare to eat much. After only a few bites, she stood up and said, I'm done eating, please enjoy your meal. Continuing to sit there and smell the food would also make her feel uncomfortable. After Shun Shuai left, Li Peizhi looked at the butler beside her and asked, Has the bird's nest prepared for the young madam been stewed? The butler bowed and replied, It's already stewed and kept warm in the kitchen. If the young madam is hungry, it can be served at any time. That's good. Li Peizhi nodded gently. Shu Qing, sitting next to Li Peizhi, casually asked, Sister-in-law, is Shuai's appetite not very good after she got pregnant? Li Peizhi said, Yes. She has stomach discomfort and can only eat small, frequent meals. When I was pregnant with Shiyu, it was almost the same. Shu Qing shook her head. It was really exhausting. That's why I didn't want to have another child after giving birth to Shiyu. Li Peizhi also only had Jiyu Zeyue as her one child, With Chen Chen and 1111 in the grandchildren's generation, she was already very content. In any case, Li Peizhi respected her son and daughter-in-law's choice. If they had another child, the home would be even livelier, and that would be wonderful too. It was a little past 9 in the evening, and the Jiyu family members each returned to their rooms to rest. Jiyu Baiyang walked into the room and saw a pillow and quilt on the sofa, which made him frown. "Wife, what do you mean by this? You're making me sleep on the sofa as soon as I get home." Shu Qing's face lengthened, and she said discontentedly, "Then you tell me first, what did you mean by being so cold to Qiao Yang today?" Jiyu Baiyang carried the pillow and quilt back to the bed, calmly saying, "I just wanted to test him." Shu Qing rolled her eyes at him. "If Qiao Yang runs away because of you, see if Shiyu won't be heartbroken." Jiyu Baiyang lay down, casually pulling the quilt over himself, and snorted coldly. "If he wants to marry my daughter but can't handle even this much pressure, then he might as well get lost now. A coward like that isn't worthy of my daughter." Shu Qing was momentarily speechless, as her husband's words did make some sense. If Qiao Yang truly loved Jiyu Shiyu deeply, would he so easily give up on their relationship because of a small setback? However, many people's relationships cannot withstand the test. Chapter 152. The day before the wedding. After Jiyu Baiyang and his wife returned to High City, the Jiyu family's old residence had been very lively these past 2 days, with many political figures visiting Jiyu Baiyang at the Jiyu family home. On the day before Jiyu Ziyue and Shun Shui's wedding, the entire Jiyu family arrived early with their luggage to check into the resort hotel where the ceremony would be held. They needed to wake up very early the next day for makeup and various preparations. After checking into the hotel, Jiyu Ziyue told Shun Shui not to lift a finger and just sit aside while he handled unpacking the suitcases. Ever since her pregnancy, the entire Jiyu family had been doting on her, taking care of everything for her. Shun Shui couldn't help but smile. "If this continues, you'll spoil me. From now on, I'll just expect food to be served and clothes to be handed to me every day. Let's see if you'll get annoyed then." "No, never," Jiyu Ziyue said with a light chuckle. "I'm happy to spoil you, and I'll continue to treat you well as always. My kindness to you is because I hold you dear, not because you're pregnant." I know," Shun Shui nodded, then sat down on the single sofa by the window. She turned to look at the scenery outside, and after a moment of contemplation, she said to Jiyu Ziyue, "Ziyue, I've thought about it, and I've decided to have my dad attend the wedding after all." After a long period of hesitation, the words of Old Master Yu finally prevailed in Shun Shui's mind. The wedding wasn't just about her. If Shen Yuhong didn't attend the wedding, in the eyes of others, it would appear that her father disapproved of the marriage. This was not the outcome she wanted. Holding a wedding naturally meant wanting everyone's blessings, not causing unnecessary gossip. Jiyu Ziyue replied without looking up, "Sure. As I said before, just go ahead with your idea." "Okay, then I'll give him a call." Shun Shui took out her phone from her coat pocket and dialed Shen Yuhong's number. The call was answered in less than 5 seconds, with Shen Yuhong saying, "Hello, Shui." She whispered. "I want to ask, are you free these 2 days?" Shen Yuhong quickly replied, "Yes, of course I'm free." "Then come to the wedding. If you're staying here tonight, I'll have someone arrange a hotel room for you. If not, then come early tomorrow." Shun Shui said, "You've been married twice, so you should know not to miss the auspicious time." "No problem. Please arrange a room for me. I'll head to the hotel in a bit, then you pack your bags first. I'm hanging up now." After saying that, Shun Shui hung up the phone. Pack bags. Shun Yuhong had already packed his luggage, and even prepared several sets of high-end suits to take with him. Shun Yuhong wasn't sure if his daughter would allow him to attend the wedding, but in his heart, he was always hoping for it. Even when sleeping at night, he didn't dare to put his phone on silent mode, afraid of missing a call from his daughter. "Old Yang, Shui has invited me to the wedding," Shun Yuhong said with a beaming smile. Quick, have someone load my luggage into the car. I'm leaving right now." After finishing the call with Shun Yuhong, Shun Shui then called the Jiyu family's butler, asking him to arrange a room for Shun Yuhong. She made a request, "Don't arrange for them to be on the same floor as me." The implication was clear. The farther, the better. "Understood," the butler replied respectfully. After ending the call, Shun Shui held her phone and sighed in frustration. The thought of walking out arm in arm with Shun Yuhong the next day made her feel extremely uneasy. After Ji Yuziua finished packing up, he walked over and sat down opposite her, holding her hand. "Don't be upset, I'll accompany you for a walk outside. I heard the plum blossoms and orchids are in full bloom. Let's go enjoy the flowers and take a stroll." Shun Shui nodded and said, "Alright, let's go out for a walk." Ji Yuziua fetched a white down jacket for her, draped it over her shoulders, and helped her put it on. Then he took a camel-colored woolen scarf and wrapped it around her neck. Shun Shui was truly pampered to the point of having clothes handed to her. After dressing her, Ji Yuziua put on his dark grey wool coat, took her hand, and walked out of the room. The couple reached the elevator entrance just as the doors opened, and Grandpa Ji Yu stepped out. In unison, they called out, "Grandpa." Old Master Ji Yu nodded slightly. What are you two lovebirds up to?" Ji Yuziua said. "We're going downstairs for a walk." "Alright, watch your step and don't get too close to the lake." Old Master Ji Yu headed back to his room while Ji Yuziua took Shun Shui's hand and stepped into the elevator. The wind carried a biting chill, making people shiver with cold. Fortunately, they were dressed warmly enough to withstand the harsh breeze. This resort is built along the lake, boasting beautiful scenery and abundant flowers. In spring, one can admire cherry blossoms; in winter, plum blossoms; in summer, lotus flowers; and in autumn, chrysanthemums. It is picturesque all year round, offering different scenic views in each season. On weekends, many wealthy individuals come here to vacation, getting close to nature and relaxing their minds. Moreover, this resort is a property of the Ji Yu family, and to ensure the success of the eldest young master's wedding, it has been closed to the public for the past half-month. Shun Shui, holding Ji Yuziua's hand, slowly walked along the plum blossom path. The fragrant plum blossoms filled the air, refreshing and invigorating. The slight melancholy in her heart quickly dissipated. The couple chatted and laughed, and after admiring the flowers, they walked back. As they passed the parking lot, they happened to see Old Master Yu's car pull up, and Shun Rui was helping Old Master Yu out of the car. Shun Shui raised her voice to greet them. "Grandpa, brother, Shui, it's so cold. You don't have to come out to pick me up. Go inside quickly." Grandpa Yu said, "Ziua and I went to admire the plum blossoms and orchids. We just happened to pass by. I didn't come out specially." Shun Shui stepped forward to help Grandpa Yu. "Grandpa, let's go inside." Ji Yuziua went over to help his brother-in-law with the luggage. After escort Old Master Yu and Shun Rui back to their rooms, Shun Shui received a message on her phone. The message from the butler read, "Young madam, President Shun has arrived and is staying on the 9th floor. The Ji Yu and Yu families were accommodated on the 2nd and 3rd floors, while Shun Yuhong was arranged to stay on the 9th floor, quite a distance away, ensuring they wouldn't run into him the moment they stepped out of their rooms." In the evening, Ji Yuziua's two close friends and Sheng Sangyu also arrived. Sheng Sangyu whispered to her friend, "My parents will come over tomorrow morning. My brother can't make it due to some matters and asked me to apologize to you." Sheng Huinan couldn't bear to watch the woman he loved pledge eternal love and show affection to another man right in front of him. "It's okay, I understand." Shun Shui had already guessed that he wouldn't come. During dinner, when the elders of the Ji Yu family learned that Shun Yuhong was also present, they sent someone to invite him to join them for the meal. The elders of the Ji Yu family knew that the relationship between father and daughter was quite distant, but since Shun Shui had invited Shun Yuhong, they still had to maintain the appearance of courtesy. Shun Yuhong was Shun Shui's father, a blood relationship that could never be severed. Chapter 153. In the future, I will love you. The next morning, Shun Shui woke up at 7 o'clock, after having breakfast at 7:30. She arrived at the dressing room to begin her makeup and hairstyling. Generally, the bride needs to get up at 5 or 6 o'clock to do her makeup. However, Shun Shui is pregnant now, and her family dotes on her, wanting her to sleep in a bit more. An hour and a half is enough time for makeup. The bridesmaid for the wedding is Sheng Sangyu, and the best man is Ji Jingzhan. Sheng Sangyu arrived at the dressing room around the same time as Shun Shui, accompanying her to chat and keep her entertained. After her makeup and hair were done and she had put on her wedding dress, Shun Shui returned to her room, accompanied by Sheng Sangyu and Ji Yushiu. Ji Yushiu casually closed the door and said with a smile, "I thought of several games for the groom's arrival last night." "That's great. "I've been thinking for the past 2 days and couldn't come up with any good ideas," said Shun Sungyu. "Let me tell you." Ji Shiu told them about a few games she had in mind. Shun Shui and Shun Sungyu nodded one after another, both agreeing that Ji Shiu's games were pretty good. Of course, Ji Shiu had also found them online. Ji Ziyue and Shun Shui were already husband and wife, so the purpose of the wedding games wasn't to make things difficult for the groom, but rather to add to the lively atmosphere. At 9 o'clock, a commotion erupted outside the door, likely the groom arriving with his groomsmen. Ji Ziyue stood at the doorway, raised his hand to knock, and said gently, "Shui, I'm here to pick you up." A note was slipped out from under the door, and Shun Sungyu said through the door, "You need to circle which words were written by the bride." Jiang Yi immediately exclaimed, "That's too hard, we're not handwriting experts." Ji Ziyue bent down to pick up the note, then took a pen from his pocket. After staring at it for about 10 seconds, he quickly started drawing circles. Although Ji Shiu and Shun Sungyu had tried their best to imitate Shun Shui's handwriting, Ji Ziyue could still tell which characters were written by her personally. It's often said that handwriting reflects the person. When writing, one unconsciously reveals their attitude and state of mind. Ji Jingzhan gave him a thumbs up. "Ziyue, you can even tell this. That's seriously impressive." Jiang Yi wore an expression of disbelief and said, "You must have just guessed randomly." "Wait and see if I was just guessing." Ji Ziyue calmly capped the pen and put it back in his pocket. Shun Sungyu glanced at the note, then handed it to Shun Shui with some surprise. He actually got all the answers right. Shun Shui smiled faintly. Ji Shiu walked behind the door and asked Ji Ziyue many questions. All her questions were about Shun Shui's hobbies and daily habits. Ji Ziyue answered every question fluently without a moment's hesitation. It was clear that he truly kept her in mind and made an effort to understand all her preferences and habits. After asking the question, Ji Shiu smiled and said, "Sing a song to express your feelings. If the bride is moved, you can take her away." Ji Ziyue thought for a moment and found the accompaniment on his phone app. Then, he sang a song titled "I Can" for Shun Shui. Ji Ziyue stood outside the door singing, while Shun Shui stood behind the door listening. His beautiful and melodious singing, paired with those love-filled lyrics, sent waves of emotion deep into her heart. "I just want to be with you. I don't want to be separated from you again. Happiness is truly not easy to come by. In your future, there will be my love for you." Many lyrics perfectly captured Ji Ziyue's current state of mind. He had been constantly torn between hope and fear, unwilling to face another separation from her. By the time he finished singing the song, Shun Shui was already deeply moved. She opened the door and threw herself into Ji Ziyue's arms, embracing him tightly without hesitation. "Shui, let's go downstairs. Everyone is waiting for us." Shun Shui then noticed the camera on the side, still recording, and she smiled shyly. Ji Ziyue took the white fur coat from Ji Shiu, draped it over her, and led her downstairs by the hand. Downstairs, a white sports car was parked, beautifully decorated with ribbons and flowers. Ji Ziyue helped Shun Shui into the car, and he drove the sports car to the lakeside where the wedding was to be held. The wedding venue was a massive glass house, offering both the beauty of the lakeside view and the warmth of the indoors. Upon arriving at the glass house, Shun Shui got out of the car and parted ways with Ji Ziyue. She needed to meet Shen Yuhong in the back room and wait until all the guests had arrived before walking out on his arm. Half an hour later, the wedding officially began. The two little ones were brought to Shun Shui's side by the elders. Ji Ruochen was dressed in a shirt and black suit, while Ji Ruoshi wore a white puffy dress. The children are serving as Shun Shui's flower girls today. A group of close friends and family sat on white chairs. The entire glass venue was adorned with an abundance of fresh flowers, and a large screen cycled through the couple's wedding photos, creating an atmosphere full of romance and fantasy. In a corner of the wedding venue stood a piano, where a woman dressed in a light pink gown sat on the bench, playing Mariage d'Amour. The woman playing the piano was none other than Shun Shui's future sister-in-law, Ning Guani. The wedding host stood on the flower-adorned circular stage, holding a microphone and delivering a lengthy opening speech. "The auspicious moment has arrived. Let us welcome the beautiful bride, Miss Shun Shui, to make her entrance." Everyone turned to look back as the tall wooden doors slowly opened. Shun Shui, dressed in a pristine white train wedding gown and holding a bouquet, walked out arm in arm with Shun Yuhong. Shung Sungyu walked on her other side, with two exquisitely beautiful children holding the long train, one on the left and one on the right. Following behind Shun Shuwei, Jiyu Ziua stood on the circular platform, gazing at his stunningly beautiful wife as she walked between two rows of fragrant champagne roses. Step by step toward him, a blissful smile radiated across his face. After stepping onto the platform and standing still, Shun Shuwei glanced over the guest seating area and quickly noticed that Sheng Huinan and his parents were seated in the second row. Sheng Huinan and Shun Shuwei exchanged glances. He moved his lips, seemingly saying, "Be happy." Even though he was heartbroken, he still wanted to see her in a wedding dress with his own eyes, and he also wanted to see her happy smile. Next, the host followed the same old routine, reciting the wedding vows, whether in sickness or in health, in poverty or in wealth. "Do you promise to be with her him for a lifetime and create a beautiful future together?" The couple both said with absolute certainty, "I do." Watching the couple standing on the round platform, the elders all wore joyful and beaming expressions. After exchanging rings, the two poured champagne and cut the cake together. Soon, it was time for the bouquet toss. Shun Shuwei, with her back to the crowd, casually tossed the bouquet backward. The bouquet flew directly towards Jiyu Shiyu, and her hand, quicker than her mind, caught it with precise accuracy. The guests immediately applauded, with many remarking that the Jiyu family would soon be celebrating another happy occasion. Xu Qing smiled cheerfully, while Jiyu Baiyang looked at Jiyu Shiyu and Qiao Yang with a complex expression. After the wedding ceremony, guests gradually exited the glass house and headed towards the reception restaurant. Chapter 154, A Lively Wedding Banquet. Before the wedding banquet began, Jiyu Ziua and Shun Shuwei returned to the dressing room to change. He changed into a dark grey suit, while she put on a vibrant red cheongsam embroidered with gold threads. After changing, Shun Shuwei walked over and sat down at the dressing table. The makeup artist was preparing to change her hairstyle to an updo, which would better complement the cheongsam she was wearing. "Shuwei, I'll go out first to help greet the guests. You can take your time and join us when you're ready." Jiyu Ziua didn't mind the third wheel present, leaning down to plant a kiss on Shun Shuwei's cheek. Shun Shuwei's eyes curved into crescents as she nodded and said, "Got it. You'd better hurry out now." Jiyu Ziua chuckled lightly and walked out with brisk steps. The makeup artist styled Shun Shuwei's cascading long hair into an updo, adorned with a simple hairpin, giving her a distinctly classical look. After finishing her hair, the makeup artist touched up her makeup. About half an hour later, Shun Shuwei left the dressing room and walked downstairs towards the restaurant where the wedding banquet was being held. As soon as Shun Shuwei appeared, Jiyu Ziua walked over to her and led her to the main table at the very front. The main table was occupied by the closest family members. After Shun Shuwei took her seat, the elders all expressed their concern, asking if she was hungry or tired. Li Peizhi said with concern, "Shuwei, after the banquet starts, make sure you eat a few bites first." Shun Shuwei nodded. "Okay, Mom." The guests had all taken their seats, and the wedding banquet began. Dishes, colorful, fragrant, and delicious, were brought out one by one and placed on the lazy Susan of the round tables. At the main table, there were a few more light dishes and snacks, which Li Peizhi had specially prepared for Shun Shuwei as a meal for pregnant women. Shun Shuwei quietly thanked Li Peizhi. "Thank you, Mom, you're so thoughtful." Li Peizhi smiled kindly. "You're welcome, eat quickly." Although Shun Shuwei was pregnant now, she still couldn't avoid accompanying Jiyu Ziua to toast the guests. It's just that she was drinking grape juice, not wine. After Shun Shuwei had eaten a good amount and appeased her stomach, Jiyu Ziua unhurriedly stood up and took her to toast. Ji Jingzhan and Sheng Sungyu also stood up, accompanying the couple, and both were plied with a lot of alcohol by the guests. There were over 50 tables in total. Even if they only had one sip at each table, it would still add up to a considerable amount. They kept the table with their closest friends for last. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to drink anymore by the time they got to the other tables. "Young Master Jiyu, sister-in-law, congratulations on your marriage. May you grow old together and live a happy and fulfilling life." Jing Zhon, look at young Master Jiyu, he's already a father for the second time. "Young Master Ji, you need to hurry up." "That's right, young Master Ji." "Hey, young Master Ji, Isn't Miss Sheng by your side quite a catch? This table was filled with peers from Haicheng's wealthy circle, all acquainted since childhood, and they were all teasing Ji Jingzhan. Cut it out in front of me. Ji Jingzhan gently swirled his wine glass. Huxiao, aren't you still single too? I'm different, I've dated dozens of women, Huxiao said with a grin. Jingzhan, you're not into men, are you? Actually, I am, Ji Jingzhan replied with a sly smile, slinging an arm around Huxiao's shoulders. I've taken a fancy to you. How about it, care to be mine? Ew, get away from me, that's disgusting. Huxiao immediately pushed Ji Jingzhan's arm off. I'm 100% straight, even if you're good looking, don't think you can turn me. The whole table burst into laughter. Ji Jingzhan was held back and not allowed to leave. He caught the gloating smile on Sheng Songyu's face, so he forcefully pulled her down to sit. These mischievous friends, seeing Ji Jingzhan holding Sheng Songyu's hand, started to tease them again. After finishing the toasts, Jiyu Ziyue, worried that Shen Shuwei would be tired, led her back to the main table first. Shen Shuwei sat back down, and soon someone brought a bowl of stewed soup and placed it in front of her. After toasting for over an hour, she was truly a bit hungry and slowly drank the soup with a spoon. The wedding banquet was very lively, and guests didn't leave until 2 o'clock. Many guests were heavily intoxicated. So the butler arranged rooms and had male attendants help them back to their rooms to rest. Jiyu Ziyue, as the groom, also drank a lot of alcohol today. Shen Shuwei smelled the alcohol emanating from him and couldn't help but gag a few times. Unable to stay there, she walked out of the room, closed the door, and then knocked on Jiyu Shiyu's door. Jiyu Shiyu opened the door, looking at her with surprise. Sister-in-law, Shen Shuwei smiled and said, your brother drank too much. And the smell of alcohol makes me a bit uncomfortable. I came here to hide. Alright, come on in then. Jiyu Shiyu turned sideways to let Shen Shuwei enter the room. Shen Shuwei sat down on the sofa and only then noticed that Jiyu Shiyu was wearing a coat. She asked softly, Shiyu, were you about to go out? Jiyu Shiyu nodded. Yes, I was planning to take a walk with Qiao Yang. You don't have to stay with me. Shen Shuwei let out a big yawn. I need to take a nap. And it's quieter when you're not here. Alright, then you can nap here. I'm going downstairs. Jiyu Shiyu put on her scarf and gloves before leaving the room. The room was very quiet. Shen Shuwei lay on Jiyu Shiyu's bed and soon fell into a sweet slumber. Qiao Yang stood outside waiting for Jiyu Shiyu. When she saw his figure, she quickly jogged over to him. Why didn't you wait for me in the lobby? It's so cold outside. Qiao Yang pursed his lips and said, it's fine, it's not that cold outside. And the air is fresher. Jiyu Shiyu probably guessed what he was thinking and quickly explained. Qiao Yang, my dad doesn't have any issues with you, he was just a bit tired that day. Shiyu, no matter whether your parents agree or not, you should keep seeing me, but no matter what, I won't give up on you. Qiao Yang looked at Jiyu Shiyu with unwavering love in his eyes. If you think I'm not good enough, I'll work twice as hard to become better, don't underestimate yourself. Jiyu Shiyu stood on her tiptoes and kissed his lips softly, saying, you once had nothing, but through your own efforts, you became the general manager of a jewelry. You're already an outstanding business elite. Her genuine admiration and recognition warmed Qiao Yang's heart. He reached out, wrapped his arm around her shoulder, and held her close, whispering, Shiyu, thank you. The two embraced each other in the cold wind, the warmth in their hearts dispelling the winter's chill. After hugging for a moment, Qiao Yang and Jiyu Shiyu walked forward hand in hand, strolling by the picturesque lakeside. The couple, Jiyu Baiyang and his wife, didn't take a nap. Instead, they sat on the tatami in their room drinking tea, next to the floor-to-ceiling window. They happened to see the young couple being affectionate as if no one else was around. It seems that a grown daughter cannot be kept at home after all. Jiyu Baiyang finished his tea and slowly set down the cup. Xu Qing picked up the teapot and poured another cup of tea for him, saying softly, yes, Shiyu has grown up and met someone who loves and understands her. Jiyu Baiyang looked up at Xu Qing and said, let's find some time to have a meal with him. His obvious change in attitude made Xu Qing feel somewhat delighted, and she quickly nodded, okay, I'll arrange it. Chapter 155. Taking the initiative to arrange a dinner, at 7 in the evening, the Chinese restaurant at the resort. Shen Shuwei and her husband walked into the private dining room with their children, greeting the elders one by one. The wedding had already concluded, But Shin Yuhong, claiming to have had too much to drink and feeling a bit unwell, insisted on staying an extra day. Shin Shui glanced at Shin Yuhong and called out, "Dad!" Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi followed closely behind, sweetly calling out, "Grandpa Tilda, Ari, Chen Chen, 1111, hearing his two adorable grandchildren call him Grandpa. Shin Yuhong smiled with a kind and affectionate expression. Although Shin Shui no longer wanted to address Shin Yuhong as Dad, with the children present, still too young to understand the complicated relationships between adults, as their mother, she had to lead by example and couldn't avoid greeting the elder. Jiyu Shiyu pushed the door open and entered, first greeting the elders before walking over to sit beside Shu Qing. Jiyu Baiyang casually asked, "Where's Qiao Yang? Why didn't you bring him along?" Her father's sudden change in attitude left Jiyu Shiyu stunned for several seconds before she replied, "He's already driven back to the city." "Oh," Jiyu Baiyang said unhurriedly, "ask him if he's free tomorrow evening, would like to have dinner with him." Jiyu Shiyu nodded vigorously. "Okay, I'll give him a call after dinner and ask." After dinner, everyone returned to their rooms to rest. Jiyu Ziyue and Shin Shui were the main focus of the wedding. And in order not to disturb the couple, Li Peiji had been helping with the children these past 2 days. At night when it was time to sleep, Li Peiji would also accompany the children. The couple walked back to their room, and Shin Shui immediately opened all the windows to let the lingering smell of alcohol dissipate. A cold wind rushed in through the windows, causing Shin Shui to shiver involuntarily. The next moment, a warm coat was draped over her shoulders. "Tonight is our wedding night, but it's a pity." Jiyu Ziyue glanced at Shin Shui's abdomen, the implication clear without words. Shin Shui chuckled lightly and said, "It's just a pity that you'll have to endure it." Jiyu Ziyue's deep voice responded, "Lying beside you every day and still having to endure it, do you know how agonizing that is?" "I don't." Shin Shui leaned closer, lifting his chin with her index finger, her beautiful eyes brimming with amusement. "Perhaps you could choose to sleep in a separate room." Jiyu Ziyue immediately rejected the idea. "That's not an option. Even if I have to sleep on the floor, I'll stay as close to you as possible." Shin Shui sat on the sofa, turned on the TV, and switched to the financial channel to watch some business news. As company managers, they need to pay attention to a lot of information every day. From this information, they can sometimes grasp industry trends and come up with good strategies to earn significant profits for the company. After watching the news for a while, the smell of alcohol in the room had mostly dissipated. Shin Shui asked Jiyu Ziyue to close the window properly while she herself took her pajamas and a towel and walked into the bathroom. Ever since she became pregnant, Shin Shui always felt like she couldn't get enough sleep. She had slept until past 5 in the afternoon and was already feeling drowsy again. After the window was closed and the heater turned on, the room had become quite warm by the time Shin Shui finished her shower and stepped out. Wearing a cotton pajama set, she didn't feel cold at all. In a room not far away, Jiyu Shiyu was half lying on the bed, having a long phone call with Qiao Yang. Jiyu Shiyu asked him, "Do you have time tomorrow night? My parents want to have dinner with you." Qiao Yang was silent for a moment before softly asking, "Shiyu, this dinner arrangement must be your doing, right?" He simply couldn't believe it. Her father had been giving him the cold shoulder just a couple of days ago, yet today suddenly wanted to have a meal with him. "No, it's not like that." Jiyu Shiyu smiled and said, "My dad personally told me he'd like to have dinner with you. In fact, during dinner tonight, he even asked me why I didn't bring you along." Qiao Yang thought to himself, "It seems Uncle Jiyu was really too exhausted the other day. That must be why he seemed so cold. Sure, I'll be there tomorrow night. Where are we eating?" Qiao Yang added, "Having dinner with your parents. Even if I were busy, I'd cancel everything else to make it. My mom hasn't decided yet, but from what she said, she probably wants to eat out. I'll send you the location once the restaurant is confirmed tomorrow." "Okay, no problem." Qiao Yang asked, "Do you need me to pick you up from the resort tomorrow morning?" "No need to make a special trip. I can just take the family car back." The two settled their dinner plans for the next evening, then continued chatting about this and that for over an hour. They only said goodnight and hung up when Jiyu Shiyu's phone was about to run out of battery. The next morning, during breakfast, Jiyu Shiyu told her parents that Qiao Yang was free that evening and could join them for dinner. Shu Qing nodded and said, "That's good. I'll call to make a reservation in a moment." After breakfast, Everyone returned to their rooms to pack their luggage, then left in small groups, driving home separately. In the evening, Jiyu Shiyu arrived at the pre-booked restaurant with her parents, the first time Jiyu Baiyang met Xiao Yang. It truly lived up to that old saying, a father-in-law looking at his son-in-law, the more he looks, the angrier he gets, no matter how outstanding the person might be, in his eyes. The other was still the one who had uprooted his family's cabbage. Tonight, after having dinner with Xiao Yang and chatting for an hour or two, Jiyu Baiyang completely changed his opinion of him. Whether Jiyu Baiyang brought up topics from the business world or the political sphere, Xiao Yang could always keep up with the conversation. Even in terms of firearms, Xiao Yang had considerable knowledge. He was a military enthusiast, although Xiao Yang came from a small town. His demeanor was refined and polite, and his speech was steady and dignified. After Jiyu Shiyu started dating Xiao Yang, Jiyu Baiyang had someone investigate him. He had studied diligently since childhood and worked hard as an adult. Jiyu Baiyang didn't interact much with Xiao Yang, but he found no issues with his character either. The atmosphere during this meal was extremely harmonious, with Jiyu Baiyang and Xiao Yang chatting happily. The slight unpleasantness from before had now dissipated like the wind. Now that both parents were very satisfied with Xiao Yang, Jiyu Shiyu was naturally the happiest, as she no longer had to face the situation of fighting against her family. If this relationship had met with parental opposition, Jiyu Shiyu's thoughts aligned with Xiao Yang's. Neither would easily give up on the other. However, gaining parents' approval is naturally the best outcome. Chapter 156, Gifts from the Elders. After attending the wedding of Jiyu Ziyue and his wife, Jiyu Baiyang and Xu Qing stayed in Haicheng for 3 more days. During these 3 days, they didn't go out again but stayed at home to spend time with their family. 3 days later, they had to set off back to the military base. The entire Jiyu family stood at the villa's entrance. Seeing Jiyu Baiyang and his wife off into the car, Xiao Yang was still the one driving. With Jiyu Shiyu seated in the passenger seat, Old Master Gu's eyes were slightly red as he looked at Jiyu Baiyang through the car window, softly asking, "Baiyang, can you come home for the new year?" Jiyu Baiyang could only return home once or twice a year. Now that Old Master Jiyu was getting on in years, he was acutely aware that each meeting between father and son might be one of their last. Thus, his heart was filled with reluctance. "Dad, I'm not entirely sure yet. It depends on the actual situation in the military," Jiyu Baiyang said in a steady voice. "That's true, it's still hard to say now." Old Master Jiyu waved his hand. "All right. You should get going now, don't miss your flight." "Dad, please take good care of yourself." Xu Qing expressed her concern for Old Master Jiyu, then waved goodbye to the others. "It's cold outside, you all should head back inside. Whether Baiyang comes back for New Year's or not, I definitely will. See you during the holidays, Tilda. Uncle, Auntie, goodbye. I'll miss you." After saying that, the 2 little ones, Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi, blew them a flying kiss. Xu Qing watched the adorable antics of the 2 children and couldn't help but wish she could get out of the car to hug them again. Unfortunately, they had a flight to catch and couldn't afford any more delays. The Jiyu family owned a private jet, but Jiyu Baiyang and Xu Qing never used it, seeing no need for such special treatment. The couple had been stationed in the military for years and had long grown accustomed to the life of ordinary people. After bidding each other farewell, Xiao Yang turned the steering wheel with both hands, and the car circled around the garden's round fountain before driving out through the villa's large iron gate. Watching the car drive away, everyone then turned and walked back into the villa. On the way to the airport, Jiyu Shiyu chatted non-stop with her parents. While Xiao Yang occasionally chimed in with a word or two, the atmosphere in the car was much more harmonious than when they had driven home from the airport earlier. No matter how long the road, it must eventually come to an end. The car pulled into the airport parking lot, and Xiao Yang got out to help with the luggage. Escorting his future parents-in-law to the security checkpoint, Jiyu Shiyu hugged her parents tightly and said reluctantly, "Mom, Dad, you're leaving Haicheng again. I really don't want you to go, my precious daughter. I also wish I could be by your side every day, but I can't just leave your father behind." Xu Qing affectionately patted Jiyu Shiyu's arm, her tone very gentle. Jiyu Baiyang looked at Xiao Yang and said solemnly, "Xiao Yang, you must get along well with Shiyu. She can be a bit willful at times, so please be more tolerant of her." Xiao Yang nodded earnestly and replied, "Uncle, please rest assured, I will definitely take good care of her." The airport announcement reminded them that their flight was now ready for boarding. Jiyu Baiyang and Shu Qing walked into the security checkpoint, passed through the inspection, and headed toward the boarding gate. Xiao Yang noticed Jiyu Shiyu's low spirits. He raised his hand to put his arm around her shoulder and said softly, "Shiyu, I'm still here with you, millimeter, I'm fine, let's go." "Alright, I'll take you home, I won't go home yet. I've been staying with my parents these past few days and haven't been to the cafe for a week. I want to go check on it." Only by keeping busy could he temporarily ease the reluctance of leaving his parents. In the afternoon, Jiyu Ziyue and his family of 4 also left the old house and returned to their own home. After entrusting the 2 little ones to Nanny Zhong's care, the couple sat in the study and began attending to work matters as well, as the year-end approaches. It's the peak season for consumption, and there's a lot going on at the company. After Xiao Yang was promoted to the position of general manager, Shun Shuwei handed over the heavy responsibilities of marketing to him. She, on the other hand, stepped back behind the scenes and began focusing on jewelry design. Shun Shuwei has been working on design drafts recently, planning to launch a series of New Year-themed jewelry before the year ends. Time flies quickly in the midst of business. On New Year's Eve, Jiyu Baiyang and Shu Qing returned to Haicheng again to celebrate the new year with their families. Jiyu Ziyue and Shun Shuwei went on a big shopping spree at the mall, bringing back a pile of things to the old house and buying New Year gifts for everyone in the family. In the evening, Grandpa Jiyu sat at the head of the dining table, raised his glass, and said to everyone, "Today, with the whole family gathered together, I truly feel very happy. Happy New Year. And may all our wishes come true. Happy New Year, may all your wishes come true. Cheers." This was immediately followed by the crisp sound of clinking glasses. Jiyu Ruoshi tilted her little face upward, raised her water glass, and said softly, "I want to cheer too, Tilda." Alright, let's cheer with 1111. Jiyu Zeyue clinked glasses with Jiyu Ruoshi, then also tapped his glass against Jiyu Ruochen's. Chen, 1111, grow up quickly. Be smart and clever." Shun Shuwei smiled, picked up her water glass, and clinked it with the children's. "I hope our 2 little treasures grow up happily. Mommy loves you both." Others also took turns clinking glasses with the little ones, exchanging many words of blessing. After the lively New Year's Eve dinner, everyone gathered in the living room to watch TV while enjoying fruits and snacks. As a song and dance performance played on TV, Grandpa Jiyu picked up the remote and turned down the volume. "Ahem," old man Jiyu cleared his throat. After capturing everyone's attention, he finally spoke. "This year marks the first New Year Chen and 1111 are spending with the Jiyu family. The eldest son's family and I have prepared a gift for the children." Li Peiji wore a gentle smile as she took out a stack of booklets from the drawer and distributed the brochures to everyone. Shun Shuwei accepted the brochure with some confusion, flipping through it to find it was a promotional booklet for a theme park. Are the elders perhaps planning to gift theme park tickets? Jiyu Ziyue, however, saw through it at a glance. He said, "Grandpa, Mom and Dad, is this theme park your gift to Chen and 1111? Old Master Jiyu nodded with a smile. "That's right." Jiyu Yuanlin continued where Old Master Jiyu left off. "This theme park is called Chenxi Paradise. It will officially open after the new year, and all profits will be deposited into an account belonging to Chen and 1111. Shun Shuwei and Jiyu Ziyue quickly expressed their gratitude. "Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, Mom and Dad." Jiyu Baiyang and his wife, along with Jiyu Shiyu, held a very indifferent attitude toward money, so none of the 3 of them felt the slightest displeasure about this matter. This was the elders' heartfelt intention. Over the years, the elders had treated Shiyu very well, even going above and beyond, upon hearing that the theme park was named after them. The 2 little ones jumped for joy and thanked the elders. As for whose money the theme park actually earns, the children don't care about this question at all. Chapter 157 Beautiful Fireworks. The butler walked into the living room, slightly bowed, and said, "The fireworks are ready, everyone, please move upstairs." Let's go. Old Master Jiyu waved his hand grandly, and everyone stood up to go upstairs and watch the fireworks. Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi were so excited that they dashed upstairs with rapid footsteps. Aunt Zhong, afraid they might fall, quickened her pace to follow them. calling out as she went, "Oh my, you two little rascals, slow down, will you?" Shen Shui also shouted, "Chen Chen, 1111, what's the rush? The fireworks won't start until everyone's here." Oh, the two little ones slowed their steps slightly. Walking up to the rooftop, there was a spacious terrace with a casual tea area and sofas. They each found a spot to sit down. Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi sat next to Shen Shui. Jiyu Ruoshi tilted her head up and asked, "Mom, when will the fireworks start? I really want to see them. I want to see them too." Jiyu Ruochen also gazed eagerly at the sky, looking forward to the fireworks. Shen Shui replied softly, "They'll start any moment now." No sooner had she spoken than a sudden noise shattered the silence of the night. Several bright lights swiftly ascended. Boom, boom, boom. With several loud bangs, beautiful fireworks exploded in the sky. Some resembled blooming flowers, others like peacocks spreading their tails, and some were golden, cascading down like waterfalls. The spectacle was dazzling to behold. The two little ones couldn't sit still, jumping up and down excitedly while cheering incessantly. "Wow, so beautiful." Jiyu Ziyue leaned closer to Shen Shui's ear and asked with a smile. "Chen Chen and 1111 are so happy. When was the last time they watched fireworks?" "It was probably New Year's Day the year before last," Shen Shui said. "I took them to see the fireworks show when we were celebrating the new year. That was a long time ago. They probably don't remember much. No wonder they're so excited." Jiyu Ziyue replied. Shen Shui looked at the children and said softly to Jiyu Ziyue, "They're so excited now, they might not fall asleep so easily later when it's time for bed." Jiyu Ziyue smiled gently. "It's fine. After we watch the fireworks, you can rest early. I'll take care of Chen Chen and 1111. "Okay, sure, I'll leave it to you then." Since she became pregnant, Jiyu Ziyue's efficiency has been truly impeccable. He never misses a prenatal checkup, takes meticulous care of her daily, and often plays with the children. "Anything can be left to me," Jiyu Ziyue said, wrapping his arm around her shoulders with a gentle, deep voice. "You're already working so hard with the pregnancy." Shen Shui felt the warmth emanating from him and rested her head on his shoulder. In her line of sight were her closest family members and the dazzling fireworks. After conceiving this child, although the morning sickness was still a bit uncomfortable, the meticulous care from her family truly made up for the sadness she felt when carrying the twins due to loneliness and lack of support when she was pregnant with Hui Shenshen and 1111. She felt somewhat depressed, in a foreign land, without family or friends. Only the landlady would come to care for her and keep her company. The Jiyu family prepared all kinds of fireworks, and it took over half an hour to set them all off. Shen Shui held her phone and took many photos and videos of the fireworks, planning to share them on her social media later. The last firework displayed a line of text, "Happy New Year." Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi read it out simultaneously, "Happy New Year." They played for a long time and made quite a ruckus. After watching the fireworks, Shen Shui instructed Nanny Zhong to take the two children back to their rooms for a bath. Tonight is New Year's Eve, so the lights in every room of the Jiyu family villa will stay on to celebrate the tradition of lighting the year fire. A small nightlight will be left on in the bedroom while sleeping. After taking a shower, Shen Shui returned to her room. Leaning against the headboard and covering herself with a warm blanket, she picked up her phone to check the messages from friends on WeChat. Sheng Sangyu, "Happy New Year, girls, may we all grow richer and more beautiful." Jiyu Shiyu, "May we strike it rich and become stunning." Hope Sangyu's new drama wins her Best Actress. "And may my sister-in-law have smooth sailing in everything." Shen Shui, "Wishing that all our desires may be fulfilled." After sending the messages, she also dropped several red packets in the group chat for them to grab for fun. The fireworks photo just taken was casually posted by Shen Shui on her social media with a simple caption, "Wherever my eyes can see, there are fireworks." And you, Jiyu Shiyu, was the first to comment, "Ah yes, that's me." Giggling, she wasn't wrong. Jiyu Shiyu had been sitting not far from Shen Shui earlier. Sheng Sangyu immediately replied to Jiyu Shiyu, "What's it got to do with you? Go be lovey-dovey with your Qiao Yang." Jiyu Shiyu replied to Sheng Sangyu, "He went back to his hometown and won't be back for a week." Shen Shui watched the two of them going back and forth, chatting in the comment section, and couldn't help but say to them, "Can't you just chat in the messaging interface?" Only then did the two of them switch locations and start chatting again in the group. Shun Shui held her phone, chatting for about half an hour. When Ji Yuziwa walked in with a cup of hot milk and placed it on the bedside table within her reach. Shui, drink your milk, I'm going to take a shower first. Okay, I'll drink it in a bit. By the time Ji Yuziwa finished showering, Shun Shui had already finished the glass of milk and got up to brush her teeth. Back in bed, she texted a friend on WeChat, I'm way too sleepy, going to bed now, good night. Ji Yuziwa lay beside Shun Shui, his arm naturally wrapping around her waist. Pulling her into his embrace, his deep voice murmured, Shui, having you and our child by my side truly makes me feel blessed. Shun Shui, breathing in his faint woody fragrance, soon drifted off to dreamland. Whatever else he said afterward, she didn't catch a single word of it. Ji Yuziwa kept talking to himself, and when he looked down, the woman in his arms was already fast asleep. He leaned in and gently kissed her forehead, whispering softly, Good night, my dear. Chapter 158. The triplets are born. Time flowed like water, with each day passing in happiness and joy. In the blink of an eye, Shun Shui's due date was approaching. With about 10 days left until the due date, all the preparations for childbirth were ready, and they planned to check into the hospital in a couple of days. In the afternoon, after waking up from a nap, Shun Shui, with her big belly, took a stroll in the garden. Not far away on the lawn, Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi were playing with Shirley. They threw the toy ball, and Sherry quickly ran after it, caught it in her mouth, and brought it back. Sherry has now grown from a small white fluff ball into a big white fluff ball, chubby and fluffy, incredibly adorable. Shun Shui walked for half an hour, and her lower back started to ache a bit, so she stepped onto the stairs, planning to sit for a while in the pavilion. As soon as her foot touched the step, she felt something unusual, as if water was flowing out from that spot. Having experienced childbirth once before, she immediately realized that her water must have broken. Chen Chen, 1111, come here for a moment. Hearing Shun Shui's call, Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi ran to her and asked, Mom, what's wrong? Shun Shui said to the two children, Go find the elders or the butler and tell them I'm about to give birth. We need to go to the hospital right away. Okay, let's go find someone. The two little ones hurriedly ran toward the villa. Sherry ran alongside them, barking incessantly, as if it too understood the urgency of the situation. The sound of the dog barking surprised everyone in the living room. Sherry was usually very well behaved and rarely barked so loudly. Soon after, the two little ones and the fluffy Sherry came running in through the door. Phew. Milk, milk. Jiyu Ruochen looked nervous, breathing a bit heavily from running too fast. Oh dear. Why are you running so fast? Li Peiji gently patted the children's backs to help them catch their breath. Jiyu Ruochen said anxiously, Mom, hurry, she's about to give birth. Jiyu Ruoshi quickly added, Take Mom to the hospital right away. The elders present immediately stood up. Old Master Jiyu instructed the butler to prepare the car at once, while Li Peiji and Jiyu Yuanlin rushed out. They went to check on Shun Shui first, then carefully helped her into the car. The rear seats of the Alfred had already been laid flat, allowing Shun Shui to lie down comfortably. Li Peiji sat beside her, while Jiyu Yuanlin took the front passenger seat. Old Master Jiyu reminded the butler and Sister Zhong to take good care of the children, then boarded another Rolls-Royce and followed them to the hospital. Li Peiji held Shun Shui's hand and asked softly, Shui, how are you feeling now? Shun Shui replied, It doesn't hurt too much for now. On his way to the hospital, Jiyu Yuanlin called Jiyu Ziwa and told him to come to the hospital as soon as he finished his work. As Shui was about to give birth, Jiyu Ziwa, who was in a meeting, received a call from his father. Upon hearing that his wife was about to give birth, he asked Fang Yu to continue presiding over the meeting. He immediately got up and left the conference room, driving straight to the hospital. By the time Jiyu Ziwa arrived at the hospital, Shun Shui had already started experiencing contractions, the pain leaving her face covered in sweat as Li Peiji wiped it away beside her. The nurse was guiding Shun Shui to take deep breaths, using the breathing to relax and divert her attention. Jiyu Ziwa walked to the bedside and asked about Shun Shui's condition with concern. She was in too much pain to speak, so the nurse answered him in detail. After their son arrived, Li Peiji gave up her spot, allowing Jiyu Ziwa to personally take care of Shun Shui. let Jiuzhua witness the immense pain a woman endures during childbirth, so he would cherish his wife even more in the future. The contractions came in waves of pain, occurring every 5 to 10 minutes, each wave more intense than the last. It wasn't until 4 hours later, when the doctor performed an internal examination and found the cervix had dilated to 3 fingers, that Shun Shuai was finally admitted to the delivery room. Shortly after entering the delivery room, the doctor administered an epidural to her, and Shun Shuai finally felt less pain. Taking advantage of this time, Shun Shuai took a short nap for an hour to regain some energy. Knowing she would soon endure even more intense pain, the cervix was fully dilated, and the epidural had been removed. Shun Shuai was in unbearable pain, unable to hold back her cries of agony. Jiuzhua was so anxious that he wished he could bear the pain for her. The doctor said calmly, "Mr. Jiu, this is already your 2nd time becoming a father. Why are you still so nervous? I wasn't by her side the last time she gave birth." Seeing Shun Shuai in such pain, Jiuzhua felt as if his heart were being stabbed by a knife. Childbirth involved such immense suffering, yet when she gave birth to Chen Chen and 1111, he hadn't been there for her. Shun Shuai screamed her heart out for over half an hour, taking deep breaths and pushing with all her might, until she finally gave birth to the baby. The nurse cleaned the baby, wrapped him in a blanket, and brought him to Shun Shuai to see. "Congratulations, both mother and child are doing well. You've delivered a healthy baby boy weighing 7.5 pounds. The nurse escorted the mother and child back to the VIP ward. Old Master Jiu and the couple, Jiu Yuanlin and his wife, first inquired about Shun Shuai's condition before turning their attention to the baby. Before the baby was born, no one knew the baby's gender. Given their relationship with the Jiang family, it wouldn't have been difficult to find out the baby's gender, but they wanted to maintain a sense of anticipation. In Jiuzhua's words, "The baby is already a wonderful surprise, so why don't we wait a little longer and be surprised again when the baby is born, whether it was a boy or a girl?" Everyone in the Jiu family cherished the baby and would treat them equally. "Shuai, you've worked hard." Jiuzhua sat by the bedside, gazing at her with endless tenderness in his eyes. "We have 3 children now, and I'm completely satisfied. I never want you to endure this kind of pain again, okay? I'll listen to you." Shun Shuai shared the same thought. 3 children were enough. Having too many wouldn't be good for her health either. Besides, there were many other things she could do in life besides giving birth and raising children. 3 days later, Shun Shuai and her husband brought their newborn son home from the hospital, and she began her postpartum confinement at the Jiu family's ancestral home. Li Peizhi had arranged everything in advance and prepared a variety of nourishing ingredients, such as fish maw, cordyceps, and donkeyhide gelatin, to help Shun Shuai replenish her energy, improve her blood circulation, and boost her immunity. Whenever they had free time, Jiu Ruochen and Jiu Ruoshi would stand by the baby's crib, gazing through the wooden rails at their adorable, rosy-cheeked little brother. Regardless of whether their brother could understand them or not, the siblings chatted away, talking to him about all sorts of things. "Little brother, you need to drink your milk nicely. Mom says if you drink more milk, you'll grow up big and strong. You need to grow up quickly, when you're bigger. I'll share lots of toys with you. I'm your big sister, and I'll let you play with my toys too. Then, I'll teach you how to write and draw." Chapter 159, Steady Happiness, Grand Finale. 1 month later, at the banquet hall of the Bays International Hotel. Today is the full-month celebration of Shun Shuai and Jiuzhua's youngest son. The invited guests are all close friends and relatives of the Jiu family, the Yu family, and the Shun family. Even Jiu Baiyang and Shu Qing made time to return. Though they couldn't hold their grandson yet, they could at least hold their grandnephew for now. The banquet hall was set with over a dozen tables, and everyone gathered together in a lively and festive atmosphere. Shun Shuai was upstairs in the room feeding the baby. She waited until all the guests had arrived before placing the baby in the stroller and pushing it downstairs. As soon as the mother and child appeared in the banquet hall, many relatives immediately gathered around. And Jiuzhua also walked over to her side. "Shuai, has the baby's formal name been decided yet?" "What is it?" The one who spoke was an elderly lady, whom Shun Shuai should address as great-aunt. "Great-aunt, the baby's formal name is Jiu Ruoming." Shun Shuai pointed to a nearby backdrop. "Look, it's written over there too." Many backdrops in the banquet hall were inscribed with, "Congratulations on Jiyu Ruoming's full moon." The great-aunt turned her head and stared at the backdrop for a long time. "Oh, it really is written there. I was so focused on looking at the baby's photos earlier that I didn't notice the words." Shen Shui smiled and said, "Perhaps those characters weren't prominent enough. It's not the character's fault, it's my old eyes failing me." The aunt asked, "Jiyu Ruoming, what a lovely name. Did the Jiyu family patriarch choose it?" Shen Shui shook her head. "My grandfather chose the name. When naming the baby, everyone came up with a suggestion, and then they compared them all together. Finally, everyone agreed that the name chosen by Grandpa Yu was the most pleasant sounding." Auntie held a small toy, played with the baby for a while, and then sat back in her seat. People kept coming over to see the baby, over just a few dozen meters. Shen Shui and Jiyu Zeyue, pushing the baby stroller, took half an hour to reach the main table at the front. Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi slid down from their chairs, gathered around the stroller, and reached out to touch their little brother's hand. The two older siblings absolutely adore their little brother, not even minding when it's time to change his diaper. They'd watch intently without moving a muscle. They even wanted to try their hand at changing the diaper themselves, seeing the server bringing out the dishes. Jiyu Zeyue said to the children, "Chen, 11, go back to your seats, it's time to eat." "Oh, okay," Jiyu Ruoshi said, bending down to whisper to Jiyu Ruoming, "Big sister's going to eat now, I'll come play with you later, Tilda." The child seats for Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi were placed next to Li Peiji, who helped take care of the two children. The banquet featured a lavish spread of delicacies, with each table served a king crab weighing over 10 pounds, followed by bird's nest soup for dessert. The accompanying red and white wines were both from Chateau Haut-Brion in France, a winery with a history of nearly 200 years. All the guests present were well-traveled and knowledgeable, yet such a high-standard banquet still left everyone in awe. The Jiyu family had eaten and drunk their fill, and now they all stood up together, walking over to the carefully arranged photo backdrop to have the photographer take their picture. The elders of the Jiyu family sat in chairs in the front row, while the two children stood beside their parents. Jiyu Xiu pulled Xiao Yang to stand behind her parents. This was the first big family photo taken after Jiyu Ruoming was born. The little one seemed to sense the occasion and broke into a wide grin. The photographer pressed the shutter, snapping a whole series of photos in quick succession. After taking the full family group photo, Shen Shui held the hands of the two children while Jiyu Zeyue carried Jiyu Ruoming, and they took many more photos together. After the family of 5 finished their photos, Grandpa Jiyu and the couple Jiyu Yuanlin came over to take several pictures with them. Jiyu Xiu walked over with a smile and said, "I also want to take photos with my little nephew." She took Jiyu Ruoming from Jiyu Zeyue's arms and called for Xiao Yang to join in the photo as well. Xiao Yang stood beside Jiyu Xiu, raising his arm to drape it over her shoulder, while she cradled a small infant in her arms. Xu Qing couldn't help but laugh as she said to her husband, "Look at this scene, it's as if they're already a family of 3. Jiyu Baiyang nodded and replied, "In a couple more years, we should be able to hold our grandchild too. Let me tell you, I don't care whether you retire or not, but I'm definitely coming back to help Xiu with the baby when the time comes." Xu Qing said, "Darling, our daughter just got engaged, and you're already thinking about grandchildren. Isn't that a bit too soon?" Xu Qing glanced at him and continued, "Anyway, I'm telling you in advance so you can mentally prepare yourself. Jiyu Baiyang would reach retirement age in a couple of years, after which he and Xu Qing would return to Haicheng to live. After decades of serving and protecting the nation, retirement would finally allow him to dote on grandchildren and enjoy a peaceful life." After the Jiyu family finished taking photos, Old Master Yu brought Shen Rui over to take a group photo with Shen Shui's family of 5. Several close friends also gathered around, and everyone took quite a few photos together. Before long, Jiyu Ruoming fell asleep in Jiyu Zeyue's arms, making it impossible for many people to take photos with the baby. After the full moon banquet ended and all the guests had left, the Jiyu family finally exited the banquet hall. Shen Shui picked up the little baby from the stroller and placed him in the infant car seat, then had Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi get in the car. It was very late when they got home. Shen Shui first fed Jiyu Ruoming, and only after he fell asleep did she go to the bathroom to shower. The next morning, the sun was bright, shining on the quilt covering Shun Shuwei. She turned over and squinted at Jiyu Zeyue. Jiyu Zeyue sat on the armchair by the window, his legs crossed, his cold, chiseled features appeared somewhat softened in the morning light. He was engrossed in a business magazine, his expression one of deep concentration. Shun Shuwei gazed at him intently, lost in thought for a moment. It was only when he turned a page that she snapped back to reality and got up to wash. After finishing breakfast downstairs, Shun Shuwei and her husband placed Jiyu Ruoming in the stroller and took him for a walk in the garden to enjoy some sunshine. Shun Shuwei glanced into the distance, where Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi were playing on the slide. The children's cheerful laughter drifted to their ears with the breeze. She smiled softly, gently linking her arm with Jiyu Zeyue's, and said tenderly, "Honey, thank you, you've made me feel secure and happy." Jiyu Zeyue's eyes shimmered with gentle warmth as he replied in an affectionate voice, "For the rest of our lives, with you by my side, we'll always be happy together." Shunsha smiled and nodded, knowing that every day from now on, she would be surrounded by love. Every morning and evening, there would be someone to watch the sunrise and sunset with her. She had a loving and understanding husband, well-behaved and sensible children, and elders who cherished her. The happiness she now possessed was already more than enough. She would always hold his hand, walking endlessly on the path blooming with roses, for a lifetime, unwavering until death. End of main story. Extra. Sheng Sungyu Ji Jingzhan. 1. After attending her friend's wedding, Sheng Sungyu packed her luggage and flew to Dongning City with her assistant, Xiao Guan. In December, the weather in Dongning City was much colder than in Haicheng. According to the weather forecast, it might snow in the coming days. Before leaving the airport, Sheng Sungyu and Xiao Guan first went to the changing room to ensure they were fully wrapped up from head to toe. They wore long down jackets, put on hats and ear muffs, and finally slipped on their fleece-lined gloves. The driver arranged by the film crew was already waiting outside the airport. As they walked out, the sliding door of the car's rear seat automatically opened. The driver got out to help with the luggage and said to them, "Miss Sheng, it's too cold outside. Please get in the car quickly." Sheng Sungyu smiled and said, "Thank you for your trouble." An hour later, the car stopped at the entrance of the Park Hyatt Hotel. As they got out, the bellboy immediately came over to push their luggage into the hotel. Xiao Guan went to the hotel front desk to check in, while Sheng Sungyu, wearing sunglasses, sat on the sofa in the hotel lobby, texting her family and friends. Noticing someone sitting down beside her, Sheng Sungyu said without looking up, "Sorry, but this seat is taken." "Oh, really?" Hearing the familiar voice, Sheng Sungyu looked up in surprise at the man sitting next to her. Ji Jingzhan, when did you get here?" Sheng Sungyu asked. "Are you here for the opening ceremony?" "Yes, that's right," Ji Jingzhan nodded. "After all, our company is the sole investor in this drama. There's no reason not to be present." "Oh, I thought you wouldn't come in person," Sheng Sungyu said. At that moment, Xiao Guan walked over with the room key. Seeing Ji Jingzhan there as well, she politely greeted him. "Hello, President Ji." Xiao Guan knew Ji Jingzhan because Sheng Sungyu had been linked to him in rumors recently, so she was aware they were friends. Sheng Sungyu introduced Xiao Guan to Ji Jingzhan. "This is my assistant. Her full name is Guan Feifei. Everyone usually calls her Xiao Guan." Only then did Ji Jingzhan give a faint nod. "Hello, Xiao Guan. Sungyu, the 2 rooms next to you, one is mine, and the other, the hotel says has already been booked. What should we do now?" "Should we switch to another hotel?" Xiao Guan said to Sheng Sungyu. To avoid paparazzi and obsessive fans, Sheng Sungyu would book 2 adjacent hotel rooms whenever she stayed at a hotel. They would either remain empty or be occupied by her team members. This was to protect her privacy, as some eavesdropping devices nowadays can pick up and record sounds from next door. Sheng Sungyu frowned and asked in confusion, "How could this happen? Didn't we already make arrangements with the hotel?" "The 2 rooms next to mine were supposed to be kept empty," Xiao Guan said. "Yeah, they promised so clearly before. Who would have thought?" Ji Jingzhan took out a room key from his suit jacket and waved it in front of them. "No need to be too nervous. The other room is where I'm staying." Sheng Sungyu relaxed slightly and said softly, "So it's you?" Ji Jingzhan nodded slightly and explained, "Those rooms have a better view, so I usually stay in them. If you feel uncomfortable, I can book another room." Sheng Sungyu shook her head lightly. "It's fine. You can stay here without worry. Let's go. We'll head upstairs to the room first. Her expression remained unchanged, but she was somewhat puzzled inside. How had Ji Jingzhan managed to make the hotel break their agreement? She had clearly arranged with the hotel to reserve the rooms on both sides for her. In the hotel room, Xiao Guan helped with unpacking the luggage while Sheng Songyu took out her tablet and searched online for information about the hotel. After reviewing the information, Sheng Songyu finally understood. This hotel was owned by the Zhong family, Ji Jingzhan's maternal relatives. No wonder Ji Jingzhan could move into the room next to hers. If she weren't familiar with Ji Jingzhan, Sheng Songyu would definitely have complained to the hotel for breaking their promise and going back on their word. Beep beep. While Sheng Songyu was lost in thought, a faint vibration sound came from the room. She snapped back to reality immediately, stood up, took out her phone from her bag, and glanced at it. It was Ji Jingzhan who sent her a WeChat message, inviting her to have lunch downstairs together at noon. Sheng Songyu glanced at Xiao Guan, then looked back at her phone screen and typed a reply. Sure, can I bring my assistant along? Ji Jingzhan replied, no problem. See you in half an hour at the Chinese restaurant on the 3rd floor. Sheng Songyu smiled faintly and turned to Xiao Guan, saying, Xiao Guan, great news, our lunch is settled. Director Ji said he's treating us. Xiao Guan thought for a moment and said, maybe I won't go, I'll just order some food and eat in my room. Sheng Songyu asked, why not? Xiao Guan whispered, I think, Mr. Ji seems to be interested in you. Sheng Songyu widened her eyes and shook her head repeatedly. Impossible. You're just overthinking it. You, President Ji specifically booked the room next to yours and made a point of inviting you to dinner. I think he's interested in you. Because we're friends, having a meal together is perfectly normal. You've just watched too many romantic dramas. You see love in everything. Sheng Yu got up and walked over to help pack the suitcase. Seeing how certain Sheng Yu was, Xiao Guan didn't press further and followed her downstairs for dinner. After being seated at the restaurant, Sheng Songyu and Ji Jingzhan ate and chatted, both of them full of smiles. Xiao Guan tried to minimize his presence, focusing on enjoying the delicious food. According to Xiao Guan's observation, CEO Ji must like Sheng Songyu, but Sheng Songyu hasn't realized it yet. In the afternoon, they got into Ji Jingzhan's car and went to the set together to attend the cruise commencement ceremony. At the launch ceremony, there was a table covered with a red cloth. In the center was a statue of Guan Di, flanked by incense burners, along with offerings of roasted suckling pig and fresh fruit. The main creative team of the crew took turns offering incense and bowing to the gods. Finally, they unveiled the red cloth covering the camera, and the director officially announced the start of filming. Afterward, the crew held a brief meeting, introducing the crew members and the actors starring in the drama to each other. The actor playing the male lead was Chen Nan, a handsome and sunny individual who has gained significant popularity in the past 2 years, establishing himself as a first-tier actor. Working on this drama with Sheng Songyu has left his fans quite dissatisfied. Fans don't understand why Chen Nan would take a supporting role for someone less famous than him. It's seen as lowering his own status. What Chen Nan values is the script and the director's team. No matter how skilled an actor is, if they appear in a bad film, the audience won't accept it. Have you two worked together before? Director Li introduced the two lead actors to each other. Hello, I'm Chen Nan. Hello, I'm Sheng Songyu. Chen Nan and Sheng Songyu shook hands and smiled at each other. Ji Jingzhan's dark eyes narrowed slightly, staring at the two clasped hands through the bustling crowd. The sight was a bit of an eyesore to him. Extra, Sheng Songyu Ji Jingzhan, too. After the wrap-up ceremony, the crew quickly began official filming. Several scenes needed to be shot in the snow, and it happened to be snowing these past few days. The director then told everyone that they might as well take advantage of the snow to finish all the snow scenes, saving them the trouble of having to create snow scenes later. The scenes filmed these past few days were mainly those of the male and female leads. Sheng Songyu was busy from morning till night every day, and would just wash up and go to sleep as soon as she returned to the hotel, utterly exhausted. When on set, Sheng Songyu would give her best performance to portray the character well. During the intermission, other actors were resting in their RVs or dressing rooms. Sheng Songyu was holding the script, which was already filled with many of her annotations and covered in sticky notes of various colors. Songyu, I just heard from the crew that President Ji came to visit the set and ordered a lot of afternoon tea, Xiao Guan said, looking at Sheng Sangyu. Should I get you a cup of hot coffee? Sure, thank you, Sheng Sangyu replied, looking up at Xiao Guan. At the same time, she noticed Ji Jingzhan standing behind Xiao Guan. She waved at Ji Jingzhan and said, "You're here. I know you're busy looking at the script, so I brought you 2 cups of coffee," hearing Ji Jingzhan's deep, magnetic voice. Xiao Guan finally turned to look at him. "Thank you, Mr. Ji." Xiao Guan took a cup of coffee from Ji Jingzhan's hand, and then, with good sense, she walked away. Ji Jingzhan walked over, placed the other cup of coffee on the small table in front of Sheng Sangyu, and then sat down on the folding chair beside her. Sheng Sangyu casually placed the script on her lap, picked up the coffee cup, and held it with both hands, the warmth spreading from her palms throughout her body. "Thank you for the hot coffee." She turned her head to look at Ji Jingzhan, and asked with a smile, "You just left a couple of days ago, why did you fly back again?" Ji Jingzhan replied in a gentle voice, "I'm very optimistic about this drama, so I plan to follow the entire shoot. What about the other projects you're in charge of? As far as I know, you're managing several major projects for the G Group. I can handle work remotely and attend video conferences. For some tasks, I can just ask my sister to help out." Ji Jingzhan had a self-satisfied expression. "Ji Yun, all right, you're truly amazing. What a great brother. You chased your wife all the way to the set and dumped a mountain of work on me. Then your sister will be quite busy." Sheng Sangyu smiled, took a sip of hot coffee, and continued looking at the script in her hand. Ji Jingzhan sat quietly beside her, admiring her focused and dedicated demeanor. Sheng Sangyu entered the entertainment industry more out of her love for acting than for money. As the eldest daughter of the Sheng family, she grew up pampered and never lacked anything materially. Because of this, Sheng Sangyu would not curry favor with others for resources, nor would she hype up a relationship with a male actor for popularity. She is a true actress who established herself in the entertainment industry through her acting skills. Half an hour later, the director shouted through a megaphone, "Positions, everyone, get ready to shoot the next scene." Sheng Sangyu put down the script, stood up, and said, "I'll head over first then." "All right." Ji Jingzhan gave a slight nod. He stood up and followed, walking over to the director's side. Watching Sheng Sangyu and Chen Nan act through the camera monitor, the scene currently being filmed shows the female lead, played by Sheng Sangyu, receiving a work assignment on a snowy day that requires her to go out for an interview. After she finishes work, the male lead, played by Chen Nan, goes to pick her up. Chen Nan takes her hands and breathes warm air onto her cold hands. Then, the two walk hand in hand through the snow, leaving behind deep footprints, snowflakes, like goose feathers, fluttered down, landing on the rooftops, on the branches, and on their hair and shoulders. It became a romantic and beautiful scene. Ji Jingzhan knew that she and Chen Nan were just acting, but he still couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy, wishing he could be the male lead himself. That day, Sheng Sangyu didn't finish filming until 11:30 p.m. She turned to look at the director's side, and Ji Jingzhan was still sitting there, those cool, indifferent eyes softened with a gentle smile the moment they met hers. Sheng Sangyu gave a radiant smile and blinked at him playfully. Early the next morning, not long after Sheng Sangyu had gotten out of bed, Xiao Guan's call came through. Since they lived right next door, why didn't he just knock instead of calling her? Sheng Sangyu picked up the phone with confusion. "Hello, Xiao Guan, what's up?" Cough, cough, cough. Xiao Guan coughed several times before whispering, "Sangyu, I might have caught a cold. I have a bit of a fever now, sorry, but I need to take a day off today. What are you apologizing for? I'll come see you now." Sheng Sangyu stood up, ready to head out. Xiao Guan quickly said, No, don't come over. I don't want to pass the illness to you." Sheng Sangyu worriedly replied, "Then what should we do? I can't just leave you like this." "It's fine. My condition isn't too serious. I can still get out of bed and walk. I'll take a taxi to the hospital later." "Alright, call me if anything happens. If I'm filming and don't answer, just call someone else from the crew," Sheng Sangyu instructed. "After the hospital, come back and rest properly. Don't worry about work," Xiao Guan replied. "Yes, I'll take good care of my health. The sooner I recover, The sooner I can get back to work. After finishing the phone call with Xiao Guan, Sheng Sangyu had some breakfast and got ready to head to the film set. She opened the door and stepped out. Coincidentally, the door of the neighboring room also opened, and Ji Jingzhan walked out, smiling at her. Good morning, Sangyu. Sheng Sangyu was still worried about Xiao Guan, so she just nodded faintly. Millimeter, good morning. The two walked to the elevator together, and Ji Jingzhan asked with concern, have you had breakfast yet? Yes, I have. The hotel sent breakfast to my room. The elevator doors opened, and after stepping inside, Ji Jingzhan pressed the button for the first floor, then continued, you seem down today. Did you not sleep well last night? Sheng Sangyu shook her head and said, Xiao Guan isn't feeling well. She has a fever and a cough, and she won't let me in to see her. I'm really worried about her. Going to the hospital alone like this, it's just not right. Ji Jingzhan said, if you're concerned, I can arrange for an assistant to accompany her to the hospital. Thank you for that. Sheng Sangyu sighed softly. I should have brought more assistants with me. Where's your manager? My studio just signed a few promising newcomers, and she needs to mentor them. There's nothing much going on with me, so I didn't ask her to come along. When they arrived at the filming set, Sheng Sangyu mentioned to the director that Xiao Guan was sick and couldn't work, hoping the crew could assign her a temporary assistant. The director pursed his lips and said somewhat awkwardly, well, Sangyu, it's not that I don't want to arrange it, but several people in the crew are sick, and we're short-staffed right now. I can help out. I'm the least busy person in the entire crew. Ji Jingzhan's lips curved slightly as he enthusiastically offered his assistance. Director, damn, so this is what he was waiting for. No wonder he sent him a message earlier, telling him not to arrange a temporary assistant for Sheng Sangyu. He thought Ji Jingzhan had some dissatisfaction with Sheng Sangyu. Now it seems there must be some ulterior motive. Extra, Sheng Sangyu Ji Jingzhan. 3. Jingzhan, are you joking? Sheng Sangyu wore an expression of disbelief. How can that be? How could I let you be my temporary assistant? That would be too demeaning for you. Ji Jingzhan's eyes carried a hint of amusement as he replied gently, it's fine, I don't feel demeaned at all. You don't think I can't even handle assistant work, do you? That's not what I meant. Then it's settled. Ji Jingzhan raised his wrist to check the time. All right. You should go get your makeup done now. We'll start filming soon. What? It's settled then. Sheng Sangyu was pushed by him into the makeup room. Holding the outfit prepared by the stylist, she walked into the changing room to get dressed, then sat in front of the makeup mirror as the stylist began working on her hair and makeup. After finishing the first scene, Sheng Sangyu walked back to the rest area and sat down on a folding chair. Ji Jingzhan immediately draped a thick coat over her shoulders and handed her a prepared cup of warm water, saying softly, Sangyu, drink some warm water to warm up. It seems he's made up his mind to be her temporary assistant. Millimeter, thank you. Sheng Sangyu took the water glass and sipped some warm water. The water in the glass tasted sweet, leaving a faintly soothing sensation in her throat after she drank it. She asked Ji Jingzhan, did you add monk fruit? Ji Jingzhan nodded slightly. I noticed your voice has been a bit hoarse these past 2 days, so I thought of brewing some monk fruit and boat-fruited staculia seeds to soothe your throat. Sheng Sangyu's eyes flickered with surprise. She hadn't expected Ji Jingzhan to be so attentive, or perhaps he was paying close attention to her after drinking it. My throat does feel much better. Sheng Sangyu finished the remaining half of the cup. That's good. Ji Jingzhan picked up the thermos and poured another cup of monk fruit tea. After a 20-minute break, they continued with the next scene. Ji Jingzhan spent the entire day doing the work of Sheng Sangyu's assistant, preparing water for her, draping a coat over her shoulders, arranging low-calorie meals, and so on. Around 10 p.m., the director announced the wrap. Before everyone left, he reminded them once more, we're shooting the sunrise scene tomorrow morning. Set your alarms properly. Don't drop the ball. Those present responded one after another. Okay, got it. Sheng Sangyu got into the same car as Ji Jingzhan. She turned to look at him and casually asked, are you really planning to be my temporary assistant these few days? Ji Jingzhan smiled and asked, why the sudden question? Was my performance today not good enough? Your performance was excellent, Sheng Sangyu said. It's just that I'm worried more rumors might cause trouble for you. There's no benefit in being frequently linked to a female celebrity. Ji Jingzhan gazed at her and said softly, Sangyu, I don't mind these things. Shung Sung-yu looked at him with confusion and asked, "You're still single. If you don't mind these things, then what do you care about?" "I care about you." He stared at her intently, the words on the tip of his tongue, yet he couldn't bring himself to say them. This occasion lacks any sense of ceremony and isn't suitable for a confession. After a long pause, Ji Jingzhan said lightly, "You'll find out, eventually." Shung Sung-yu murmured softly, "So mysterious." The car stopped at the hotel entrance. Ji Jingzhan got out first, then extended his hand in a gentlemanly manner to help Shung Sung-yu step down. The two walked through the hotel entrance together, took the elevator upstairs, bid each other good night, and then returned to their respective rooms. During a break in filming, Shung Sung-yu sent a WeChat message to check on Xiao Guan. Upon learning that Xiao Guan was already asleep, she decided not to knock on the door. After showering and lying in bed, that question surfaced in her mind once again. She was curious, what exactly was Ji Jingzhan concerned about? Could it be that Ji Jingzhan already has a woman he likes, but she's unattainable, which is why he doesn't care about his reputation or the rumors with her? The more I think about it, the more likely it seems. Shung Sung-yu pondered until she fell asleep. Shooting for over 10 hours a day was truly exhausting. The next morning at 5, Shung Sung-yu was woken up by her alarm. She glanced at her phone screen, where a memo read, "Wake up early for the sunrise scene." She let out a big yawn and reached out to turn on the bedside lamp. No choice. Even if she hadn't slept enough, she had to get up. She couldn't keep everyone waiting for her. Today, they were heading to another filming location. Ji Jingzhan had gone downstairs a step ahead of Shung Sung-yu and was already sitting in the car. After she got in the car, Ji Jingzhan handed her an insulated bag. "Sung-yu, we're starting too early today. The hotel isn't serving breakfast yet. Make do with this for now, thank you. This temporary assistant of yours is really too competent." Shung Sung-yu opened the insulated bag, inside which were 2 sandwiches and 2 bottles of milk, breakfast for 2. She took out one portion and handed it to Ji Jingzhan before retrieving her own and starting to eat. Both the milk and sandwiches were still warm. At this early hour before dawn, having a hot breakfast was truly no small feat. After breakfast, Ji Jingzhan thoughtfully handed her a tissue, wiping the corners of her mouth. Shung Sung-yu casually asked, "Which shop did you get the sandwich from?" "It's quite tasty. Bought it from LM Bakery, about 5 or 6 kilometers from here." "Oh. That shop has really nice decor, with sky blue exterior walls." "Right, I caught a glimpse of it when passing by in a car before, so I have a bit of an impression." Ji Jingzhan nodded with a smile. "That's right, the exterior wall of that shop is sky blue." The car stopped at the foot of a scenic mountain. After quickly changing clothes and applying makeup, Shung Sung-yu immediately immersed herself in the acting mode. She filmed the hiking scenes with Chen Nan. Then they took the car to the mountaintop and shot the scene where the male and female leads watched the sunrise together. The wind on the mountaintop was strong, howling fiercely, making people shiver from the cold. After filming the sunrise scene, Shung Sung-yu's hands were almost frozen stiff, and even with gloves on, she still felt extremely cold. Clearly lacking experience with northern winters, the gloves she had prepared seemed insufficiently thick. Ji Jingzhan helped Shung Sung-yu into the car and quickly asked with concern, "Sung-yu, how are you feeling?" "My hands feel cold." Hearing Shung Sung-yu say her hands were cold, Ji Jingzhan removed her gloves and touched the back of her hand. It was indeed as cold as ice. He gently held her hand, enveloping it in his warm palm. And soon her hand began to warm up. Apart from acting scenes, Shung Sung-yu had never been in such close contact with a member of the opposite sex before. Her peripheral gaze inadvertently fell upon him. His expression was earnest and focused, as if the matter before him was of utmost importance. Gazing at his flawlessly handsome profile, Shung Sung-yu suddenly felt her heartbeat quicken, her cheeks warming slightly. She quickly lowered her head, concealing the emotions welling up in her eyes. The car's heater was on, and the atmosphere between the two grew increasingly warm. Extra, Shung Sung-yu Ji Jingzhan, 4. After a short break, everyone threw themselves back into the busy filming. After a full day of work, everyone was exhausted from the early morning start. Not long after dinner, the director announced the wrap, telling everyone to return to the hotel early for some rest. Shung Sung-yu went back to her room, took a shower, and lay on the bed. Seeing that it was still early, she called her parents and chatted with them for a while about daily life. After hanging up with her parents, she dialed Shun Shui's number. Wanting to catch up with her good friend, after ringing for more than 10 seconds, Shun Shui answered the call. Sungyu, hey, Shui, have you had dinner yet? Shun Sungyu casually asked, are you free to talk on the phone now? Yes, go ahead, I've finished dinner and am watching TV while eating some fruit. Before Shun Sungyu could speak, Jiyu Ruoshi's clear voice came through the phone. Mom, who are you talking to? Shun Shui replied, I'm talking to your godmother, godmother. Godmother Tilda Jiyu Ruochan and Jiyu Ruoshi called out to Shun Sungyu repeatedly. Shui, let me talk to the children first, Shun Sungyu said. Shun Shui asked, shall we switch to a video chat on WeChat? Sure, no problem. They quickly hung up the phone and switched to a video call. Jiyu Ruochan and Jiyu Ruoshi sat beside Shun Shui, and the faces of the mother and her two children appeared on the phone screen. Shun Sungyu smiled warmly and chatted softly with the children for a long time. After talking for over 20 minutes, Shun Shui urged the children to go upstairs and take a bath. Shun Shui continued chatting with Shun Sungyu on her phone and asked, Sungyu, what was it you wanted to tell me earlier? Noticing that Jiyu Zua seemed to be sitting next to Shun Shui, Shun Sungyu whispered to her, could you go back to your room? I'll tell you then. Hearing this, Shun Shui immediately understood that the topic might be somewhat private and not something she wanted a man to overhear. Shun Shui quickly got up and returned to her room, closing the door securely before saying, all right, Sungyu, I'm in my room now, you can tell me. It's been snowing and getting colder here in Dongning these days, and Xiaoguan caught a cold and fell ill, Shun Sungyu said slowly, so, I went to the director to ask if he could arrange a temporary assistant for me. Shun Shui looked at the phone screen and asked, what did the director say? Did he refuse? It's not that he refused. The director said that many crew members have been falling ill recently, and they're really short-handed. What happened next? How did you handle it? Shun Shui continued to ask, if it was summer, it wouldn't matter, no assistant, no problem. But in winter, with all the layers of clothing, not having an assistant is really inconvenient. Just then, someone volunteered. Shun Sungyu's voice paused as she suddenly chuckled. Shun Shui, full of curiosity, urged impatiently, oh, come on, tell me already, who was the volunteer? Was it one of your fans? Shun Sungyu didn't keep her in suspense any longer and answered directly, not a fan, it was Ji Jingzhan. Well, tilde young Master Ji as your temporary assistant, Shun Shui asked with a smile. How did that feel? After these 2 days together, I think I might have some feelings for him. Shun Shui teased, what kind of feelings? Could it be the feeling of falling in love? There was no need to hide her emotions in front of a close friend, so Shun Sungyu nodded lightly. Seeing Shun Sungyu nod, Shun Shui thought to herself, Ji Jingzhan has finally waited for his moment of triumph. Shun Shi smiled and said, you're both single, and since you've developed feelings for him, you could try dating. Actually, I've always felt that you two would make a great match. Shun Sungyu shook her head, what's the use of me having feelings for him? He already has someone he likes in his heart. Shun Shi asked briefly, who is it? I don't know, it's just my guess, Shun Sungyu said with conviction. He doesn't care at all about the rumors between us. I suspect there must be someone he loves but can't have in his heart, like a first love or a white moonlight. That person married someone else, and he just can't forget her. Shun Shui couldn't help but laugh for a while before saying, Sungyu, I've noticed your imagination is too vivid, you can conjure up so many scenarios in your mind. I finally developed feelings for a man. It seems I'll have to hit the brakes in time. A man who belongs to someone else is not someone I'd touch, Shun Sungyu said with a look of melancholy, letting out a long sigh. No need to break, Shun Shui said. Sungyu, if he doesn't mind being linked with you in rumors. There might be another possibility. What, perhaps, the person he likes is you. Shun Sungyu's eyes flickered. Is there really such a possibility? Shun Shui nodded with great certainty. Based on my observations, the probability is over 99%. He likes me. After pondering for a long time, Shun Sungyu continued, thinking carefully, it does seem a little possible. I never thought about it this way before, always believing Ji Jingzhan only treated her as a friend. But in reality, he paid her a great deal of attention. These past 2 days, as her temporary assistant, he handled everything, big and small, with perfect care, everything aligned perfectly with her preferences and habits. If it's called a coincidence, that would be stretching it a bit too far. Upon learning that the person Ji Jingzhan liked might be herself, Sheng Songyu's mood instantly brightened. After a long phone call with Shen Shui, she lay in bed and fell peacefully asleep. The next morning, the moment Sheng Songyu saw Ji Jingzhan, a radiant smile appeared at the corners of her lips as the car pulled into the filming set. Just before getting out, Sheng Songyu suddenly grabbed his arm and said softly, "Wait, your collar isn't properly straightened." With that, she directly raised her hand and began straightening his shirt collar for him. Sheng Songyu's proactive closeness made Ji Jingzhan so nervous he hardly dared to breathe, afraid this might just be a dream, the slightest movement, and the dream would end. All done, Sheng Songyu straightened his collar for him, and the two got out of the car together, walking side by side into the film set. Xiao Guan's condition has improved significantly, though she still has a slight cough, and is now able to return to work. Sheng Songyu sent a message to Xiao Guan, saying she could take a few days off to recover fully before returning to work. Over the next few days, Sheng Songyu kept a close watch. Ji Jingzhan's words and actions indeed concealed his thoughtfulness toward her at every turn. It seems her friend was right. In matters of the heart, those involved are often blind. Many times, it's impossible to clearly see that person's feelings for you, their unique devotion to you. Ji Jingzhan was not by nature a warm-hearted person. He wouldn't willingly submit to her whims or serve her tea and water merely out of friendship. Perhaps, from very early on, his frequent appearances by her side were never coincidental but deliberately planned. Having understood Ji Jingzhan's feelings for her, Sheng Songyu also began to take the initiative, no longer keeping him at a friend's distance. Extra, Sheng Songyu Ji Jingzhan. 3 days later, Xiao Guan had fully recovered and no longer needed to rest, returning to work as usual. Ji Jingzhan kept competing with Xiao Guan for tasks, often completing what Xiao Guan was about to do before he even got the chance. Xiao Guan couldn't help but complain to Sheng Songyu, "Songyu, President Ji keeps taking over my work. I feel a bit redundant." "It's fine, just take it easy then." Sheng Songyu chuckled softly. "Let him be." The phrase "let him be" seemed to carry an unusual undertone. Xiao Guan frowned and pondered for a while, recalling that during her sick days, Ji Jingzhan had been acting as Sheng Songyu's temporary assistant. Perhaps after these days of working together, a spark had ignited between them. With Sheng Songyu's tacit approval, Xiao Guan felt justified in slacking off without guilt. The feeling of getting paid without having to work was simply too good. Ji Jingzhan had been showering Sheng Songyu with attention every day. At first, one could say it was just to help cover Xiao Guan's work temporarily, but now, even though Xiao Guan has returned to work, he continues to take care of Sheng Songyu as usual. No one in the crew is a fool. How could they not see that Ji Jingzhan is pursuing Sheng Songyu? Everyone chooses to turn a blind eye without saying a word, quietly creating opportunities for the two to be alone. Time passes quietly and swiftly in the midst of busyness. In the blink of an eye, the Lunar New Year arrived. Film crews typically don't take holidays, but after careful consideration, the director decided to give everyone 3 days off so they could go home and reunite with their families. Even if work continued, everyone's minds would likely not be on the job. It's better to just take 3 days off, enjoy the reunion dinner, and then come back refreshed. Sheng Songyu glanced at the ticket booking app and sighed softly. Sigh, even with the holiday, it's no use. Flight tickets are already sold out. The spring festival travel season is the busiest time for public transportation systems. People from all over the country, who hustle for a living, return to their hometowns to visit family or travel for vacation. Sitting beside her, Ji Jingzhan spoke unhurriedly. "Songyu, I borrowed a private jet from a friend. You can fly back to Haicheng with me." "That's wonderful." Sheng Songyu was overjoyed and couldn't help but reach out to hug Ji Jingzhan. After the embrace, she finally realized she might have gotten a bit too excited. Her cheeks slightly flushed, she forced a composed smile. "Sorry, I was just too happy." "It's fine." Ji Jingzhan's eyes gleamed slightly, his lips curving into a gentle smile. "Then go back to the hotel to pack your things. We'll leave in 2 hours, okay?" Sheng Songyu nodded lightly. "Sure, no problem." While boarding the plane, Sheng Songyu glanced toward the tail and noticed the family crest looked somewhat familiar. Is this private jet owned by the Gu family? Yeah, it is, Ji Jingzhan nodded. Aside from the Gu family, there aren't many in Haicheng with that kind of resources. Sheng Songyu smiled. That's true, spending over $1 billion to buy a private jet, some can afford it. But the annual maintenance and management costs in the tens of millions are not something every family is willing to splurge on. Ji Jingzhan accompanied Sheng Songyu on a tour of the private jet's interior. And then they took their seats side by side. The jet taxied down the runway, preparing for takeoff. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, the plane flew smoothly, and passengers could move around freely. Ji Jingzhan stood up, walked to the back room, opened one of the cabinet doors, and took out the bouquet he had prepared in advance. As he held the bouquet of light pink roses and slowly walked towards Sheng Songyu, she froze for a moment, blinking her eyes. Was he about to confess to her at an altitude of 10,000 meters? Standing before her, Ji Jingzhan said in a gentle voice, Songyu, there are some words I've kept in my heart for a long time. I want to tell you today. Sheng Songyu nodded with a smile and said, yes, go ahead. Laplace determinism posits that every event's occurrence, including each person's cognition, decisions, and actions, develops causally due to prior events. In other words, human fate was already predetermined. Our lives might just be a script that was set long ago. Songyu, I didn't believe in the concept of fate before, but fate arranged our meeting. If there really exists a script for life, I hope in my script, you occupy the most important position. You are the only leading lady in my life. Songyu, I love you. Ji Jingzhan gazed at her with deep affection. Will you be with me? Hearing his heartfelt confession, Sheng Songyu's delicate face revealed a faint dimple. Like a pear blossom in full bloom, she nodded vigorously. Yes, I will. Since they were already mutually in love, Sheng Songyu didn't hesitate in the slightest. She reached out and took the bouquet of roses that Ji Jingzhan was holding the pale pink roses. The smile on her face deepened. She slightly tilted her head up, her bright and beautiful eyes fixed on Ji Jingzhan. After a moment of affectionate eye contact, Ji Jingzhan leaned down, one hand supporting the back of her head while the other wrapped around her slender waist, and kissed her tender lips. Sheng Songyu casually placed the cumbersome bouquet on a nearby spot. She wrapped her arms around his shoulders and responded to his kiss. Ji Jingzhan and Sheng Songyu are like twin flames, two souls destined to be together, and nothing can tear them apart at this moment. Everything around them fades away as they embrace and kiss each other. The flight attendant opened the door of the workroom, peeked out and saw this scene. She quickly withdrew her right foot that had stepped out, silently closed the door again. It wasn't until the plane was preparing to land that the flight attendant had to use the intercom to remind them, please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts, thinking of that lingering and passionate kiss just now. Sheng Songyu's face flushed so red it could drip blood, her eyes brimming with tender affection as soft as water. Truly, she was more delicate and charming than a flower, making Ji Jingzhan unable to tear his gaze away. Now officially a couple, the two walked out of the airport hand in hand, taking a deep breath. Sheng Songyu said cheerfully, we're back Tilda, the weather is really lovely today. Ji Jingzhan looked up at the sky and nodded. Yes, the weather is really nice today. A few passers-by walking around them glanced at the sky in confusion. The sky was overcast, and it looked like it was about to rain. How could this be called nice weather? What others didn't know was that for two people in love, whether the sky was clear or overcast, every day was good weather to them. Extra. Sheng Songyu Ji Jingzhan. 6. 1 year later, the highly anticipated Golden Flower Awards will be held today. The TV series starring Sheng Songyu has consistently topped the popularity charts on major platforms in the 6 months since its premiere. This time, she has also been nominated for the Golden Flower Awards Best Actress. Ji Jingzhan and Sheng Songyu arrived at the venue. Sheng Songyu wore a blue gradient starry evening gown with a sweetheart neckline, revealing her snow-white shoulders and delicate collarbones. Her shimmering eyeshadow perfectly accentuated her captivating crescent-shaped eyes. While her beautiful lips bloomed like peach blossoms, Ji Jingzhan gallantly extended his hand to assist her out of the car. Dressed in a custom-tailored black suit, his refined and aloof demeanor drew countless admiring glances. Standing side by side, they made a truly perfect match. Click, click. The entertainment reporters' cameras were trained on them, continuously clicking their shutters. "Sungyu, look over here, Shung Sungyu." Gracefully walking down the red carpet with Ji Jingzhan's arm in hers, waved at the reporters and flashed a radiant smile. Not long after dating Ji Jingzhan, Shung Sungyu made their relationship public. Since she had found someone she truly loved, she didn't want to hide it and openly announced their romance. Most fans expressed their blessings, genuinely happy that their beloved sister had found happiness. A small portion of her boyfriend fans unfollowed her, which was something Shung Sungyu had anticipated. However, Shung Sungyu didn't pay much attention to it. Work is work, life is life, and work should not override life. No female celebrity would choose to remain unmarried and live out their days alone for the sake of their fans. Walking along the red carpet to the sign-in desk, the etiquette lady gestured and said with a smile, "Mr. Ji, Miss Shung, please come up to sign." Ji Jingzhan walked onto the stage first, then turned around and extended his hand to Shung Sungyu, reminding her softly, "Sungyu, watch your step." Shung Sungyu hummed in response, raising her slender, fair right hand and gently placing it in his palm, walking onto the stage with elegant grace. They took 2 pens from the tray held by the etiquette lady and then signed their names in the blank space on the backdrop. Shung Sungyu returned the pen to the etiquette lady and stood next to Ji Jingzhan, his arm around her waist. As they smiled sweetly for the camera, a crowd of entertainment reporters were taking photos, the sound of camera shutters incessantly filling the air. Ji Jingzhan wasn't quite accustomed to standing under the flashing lights, but he would try his best to adapt, because he wanted to accompany Shung Sungyu. After signing autographs and taking photos, Shung Sungyu and Ji Jingzhan stepped down from the stage and continued inward, guided by the usherette to their seats in the front row. Ji Jingzhan was the CEO of Xingsan Film and Television, while Shung Sungyu was one of the nominees for Best Actress. Both were highly sought-after figures in the industry. Soon after they sat down, many people proactively came over to greet them. When it was time for the party to begin, everyone returned to their seats, and 2 hosts walked onto the stage. The hosts briefly introduced the party, welcomed and thanked the guests, and also introduced the party's sponsors. After a lengthy opening speech, today's award ceremony finally began. The first awards to be presented were for Best Picture, Best Newcomer, Best Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor. Shung Sungyu's expression remained calm, but her hand, interlocked with Ji Jingzhan's, unconsciously tightened its grip on his. She was still quite nervous inside. The ultimate goal of every actor is to deliver great works to the audience, earn their love, and win the highest honor in acting, the Best Actor award. Ji Jingzhan gently patted the back of her hand and reassured her softly, "Sungyu, don't be nervous. No matter the outcome, you'll always be the best actress in my eyes." Shung Sungyu met his warm gaze, and the restlessness in her heart gradually eased. "I'm not nervous," she replied with a faint smile. Shifting her focus back to the awards stage, after the other awards were presented, it was finally time for the last few, and the award for Best Actress goes to Shung Sungyu. "Congratulations, Sungyu. Please come up to receive your award." The moment she heard the name, Shung Sungyu blinked in disbelief, whispering to Ji Jingzhan, "Did I just hear that right?" Afraid she might have misheard, she hesitated to stand up, knowing how awkward it would be if she were mistaken. Ji Jingzhan nodded firmly. "No mistake, it's your name they called." After announcing the winner's name, the host proceeded to call out the name of the presenter. The guest presenting the award to Shung Sungyu was none other than Ji Jingzhan. Shung Sungyu and Ji Jingzhan stood together on stage. He presented her with the award, then gave her a big hug. "Congratulations, Sungyu. Your years of hard work deserve this award," Ji Jingzhan said in a gentle voice. A thunderous applause erupted from the audience. The feeling of being evenly matched and meeting at the pinnacle truly brings heartfelt joy. Shung Sungyu held the microphone and delivered her acceptance speech. "I am deeply honored to stand here today and receive this prestigious award. Thank you to the judges and the audience for your recognition, and to everyone for your unwavering support and encouragement. Congratulations once again on winning this award," the host said with a smile. Thank you all." Holding the trophy, Shung Sungyu bowed sincerely to the audience with a genuine smile on her face. After the awards ceremony, Shung Sung-yu gave an exclusive interview to an entertainment reporter after discussing her acting journey over the years and sharing her insights about the film and television industry. The entertainment reporter turned to questions about her personal life. Miss Shung, you and President Ji have been publicly together for a year now. Many people are curious about how your relationship is going. Will there be any further developments? Yes, there will. Shung Sung-yu replied with a sweet smile. In fact, you can change how you address me now. The reporter saw a pigeon egg diamond ring on her right ring finger and immediately changed his address. Mrs. G. Extra, Jiu Shiu Qiao Yang, 1, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Jiu Shiu sat behind the counter in the coffee shop, flipping through a stack of delivery receipts and calculating the total amount with a calculator, her expression utterly focused. Sister Shiu. The voice of an employee reached her ears, and Jiu Shiu subtly frowned. She never liked to be disturbed when she was tallying receipts. Her thoughts were suddenly interrupted, and she didn't know which receipt she had been on. Now she would have to start calculating from the beginning again. Jiu Shiu looked up at the clerk and asked, "What's wrong?" The clerk pointed outside the door and said with a smile, "Someone out there is looking for you." Jiu Shiu got up, walked around the counter, and went over. The florist delivery person politely asked, "Hello, are you Ms. Jiu Shiu?" Jiu Shiu nodded gently. "Yes, this bouquet is for you. Please sign for it." The delivery person first handed the receipt to Jiu Shiu, waiting for her to sign before passing the bouquet to her. "Thank you. I appreciate it." Jiu Shiu took the bouquet and smiled at the delivery person. "You're welcome. Mission accomplished." The deliveryman turned and walked out. Jiu Shiu held the bouquet of red roses and walked back to the counter, found a glass vase with a wide opening, and placed the flowers in water to keep them fresh. "Shiu, these flowers must be from President Xiao, right? They're really beautiful," the shop assistant said, looking at the bouquet with envy. Jiu Shiu slightly lowered her head, inhaled the delicate fragrance of the roses, and a gentle smile blossomed on her face. "Yes, he sent them." She placed the bouquet on the counter and continued with the unfinished tasks from earlier. It was Valentine's Day, and many young couples came in for desserts and coffee. She stayed busy until evening. Only when the number of customers dwindled did Jiu Shiu finally pick up her bag and step out. Qiao Yang's car was parked right outside the cafe. Seeing Jiu Shiu walk out, he immediately got out of the car, walked around to the other side, and opened the door for her. After getting in the car, Jiu Shiu turned to look at Qiao Yang and asked softly, "Where are we going for dinner? It's Valentine's Day today, and everywhere is packed. Without a reservation, we might not get a table quickly." Qiao Yang smiled and said, "Don't worry, I've already made arrangements." Jiu Shiu nodded right away and said, "All right. Let's go then." Qiao Yang took Jiu Shiu to a seaside restaurant, where they sat by the window and enjoyed a romantic candlelit dinner. After dinner, Qiao Yang suggested, "It's still early, why don't we take a walk nearby and enjoy the sea breeze?" "Sure." Jiu Shiu nodded with a smile. Taking Qiao Yang's hand as they walked forward, unconsciously, they found themselves on the beach. Qiao Yang stopped and said softly to Jiu Shiu, "Shiu, I've prepared something for you." Jiu Shiu blinked her eyes and chuckled lightly. What other surprises are you hiding? You'll find out soon enough." Qiao Yang trotted over and turned on the power that had been prepared in advance. The lights instantly lit up. What greeted her eyes was a wall of flowers made from champagne roses, with a heart-shaped arrangement of red roses in the center, dotted with twinkling string lights. It looked both romantic and dreamy. A golden spherical ornament was also hanging beside the flower wall. Jiu Shiu noticed that there seemed to be a string attached beneath the golden ball. She reached out and casually gave it a tug downward. Bang! The golden ball opened from the middle, and a banner dropped down, revealing the words written on it to her. The calligraphy on it was in Qiao Yang's handwriting. The banner read, "Will you marry me?" Jiu Shiu's eyes sparkled with delight as she gazed joyfully at Qiao Yang. Qiao Yang took out a jewelry box from his pocket, knelt on one knee, and looked at Jiu Shiu with tender affection. "Shiu, every moment with you fills me with immense happiness. I truly hope to spend every single day of the rest of my life with you. I've decided on you for this lifetime. My tranquil heart will only ripple for you. Shiu, I will respect you, care for you, and stay by your side. Will you marry me?" Jiu Shiu nodded with a smile. "Yes, I will marry you." Qiao Yang took her right hand, kissed the back of it, and then slipped the ring onto her ring finger. He stood up, drew her into his embrace, and said in a clear voice by her ear, "Xiyu, the years ahead are long, with the sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers, and seas. We will walk hand in hand together." Xiyu looked up at him and said softly, "Qiao Yang, meeting you is the greatest fortune of my life." Extra story, Xiyu Qiao Yang, 2. Half a month later, on a sunny and pleasant afternoon, Qiao Yang and his parents went to the Jiyu family to propose marriage. Although the Qiao family was just an ordinary household, Mr. and Mrs. Qiao still did their utmost to prepare generous betrothal gifts. They prepared cordyceps and birds' nests for the elderly, and special candies and pastries for the children. They also prepared a lot of jewelry, tea, alcohol, dried fruits, and more. After Qiao Yang successfully proposed to Xiyu, the Jiyu family was already prepared, just waiting for the Qiao family to come and make the formal marriage proposal. The car slowly drove into the Jiyu family's villa, and both of the Qiao elders were stunned by the luxury of the villa, but the moment the car stopped, they quickly composed themselves, hiding their astonishment. They couldn't embarrass their son or appear as if they'd never seen such grandeur before. All members of the Jiyu family stood up and went outside to welcome their future in-laws. "Mr. Qiao, Mrs. Qiao, Qiao Yang, how do you do?" Elder Jiyu was the first to step forward and greet the Qiao family. The three members of the Qiao family got out of the car and, according to seniority, greeted the Jiyu family one by one. After exchanging pleasantries for a while, Old Master Jiyu beamed and said, "Don't just stand there. Come inside and sit down so we can chat properly." Everyone took their seats in the living room, and soon servants arrived to brew gongfu tea and serve the pre-prepared fruits and snacks. After drinking a few cups of tea, Mr. and Mrs. Qiao slowly began to explain the purpose of their visit that day. Jiyu Baiyang looked at Xiyu with affection, then turned to the three members of the Qiao family and said, "Our family is very open-minded and respects our children's opinions. As long as Xiyu herself is willing, we have no objections. Besides, Qiao Yang is an outstanding young man." Of course, Jiyu Baiyang had investigated Qiao Yang and even met him in person. That's why he could say such words and feel assured about entrusting his daughter to Qiao Yang. "Qiao Yang likes Xiyu very much, and we adore her just as much. If she could marry Qiao Yang, it would be an immense blessing," said Mr. Qiao. "We've prepared a betrothal gift of 299,000 yuan, symbolizing the couple's everlasting love. Also, there's this. Please take a look." For an ordinary family, a betrothal gift of 299,000 yuan already demonstrates great sincerity. The Jiyu family didn't care whether the betrothal gift amount was large or small. This is indeed an auspicious number, and the Qiao family clearly put thought into it. Mr. Qiao took a document from his wife's bag and handed both the document and the bank card to Jiyu Baiyang. "Dear in-laws, please take a look." "Why is there a document prepared too?" Jiyu Baiyang asked with a puzzled expression as he took the file and flipped through it. "A prenuptial agreement." Father Qiao nodded and said, "Yes, indeed. Your Jiyu family is a wealthy and influential household, while our Qiao family is just an ordinary one. To protect Xiyu's rights, it's only natural to sign a prenuptial agreement." In addition to her premarital assets exceeding 10 billion, Xiyu also holds shares in the group, which generate substantial annual dividends. Calculated together, this amounts to several hundred million each year, all of which would be considered joint marital property. Thus, the prenuptial agreement clearly states that all of Xiyu's postmarital assets remain her sole property. If Xiyu and Qiao Yang were to divorce, Qiao Yang would leave with nothing, and the Qiao family wouldn't gain a single advantage. This was something Qiao Yang had planned long ago, and his parents fully supported it. In the eyes of Qiao's parents, wealth is merely external. Their son is capable enough to support his own small family, as long as the young couple can live happily together. They have no other demands. Side story, Jiyu Qiao Yang, 3. After reading the prenuptial agreement, Jiyu Baiyang passed the document around for all the Jiyu family members to review in turn. After everyone finished reading the prenuptial agreement, they all showed expressions of slight surprise. Even Jiyu hadn't expected that Qiao Yang would do this. He had considered so much for her. Ji Shiu slightly furrowed her brows, her gaze resting on Qiao Yang as she said to him, "No, Qiao Yang. I've never been concerned about property matters. You don't need to sign such an agreement with me, Shiu. It's you as a person that I love," Qiao Yang said. "Consider this prenuptial agreement as a token of my sincerity towards you. It's proof of my genuine feelings. I truly didn't choose to marry you for your wealth." Qiao's mother then spoke softly, continuing Qiao Yang's words, "Shiu, don't overthink it. It was Qiao Yang's own idea to sign this, and we fully support his decision." Qiao's father nodded in agreement, adding, "Besides, if we didn't sign this agreement, we'd feel uneasy. The gap between our family and the Jiyu family is too vast. With this agreement in place, we can interact without any psychological burden in the future." Seeing the Qiao family's insistence, Jiyu Baiyang and Shu Qing exchanged a glance, and then the couple nodded simultaneously. "Since the in-laws insist, then you two should sign this prenuptial agreement," Jiyu Baiyang said to Jiyu Shiu and Qiao Yang. The Jiyu family had not demanded that Qiao Yang sign a prenuptial agreement, but the Qiao family's perspective was that without signing this agreement, they might inevitably feel inferior in front of the Jiyu family. The Qiao family voluntarily gave up Jiyu Shiu's share of the marital assets, and making this decision is truly admirable. Since the elders had already agreed, Jiyu Shiu didn't say anything more and signed her name on the prenuptial agreement. In the evening, several of the Jiyu family's head chefs prepared a lavish feast to entertain their future in-laws and future son-in-law. During the meal, everyone chatted happily and harmoniously. Although the Jiyu family is among the elite wealthy, they have a very approachable temperament. The topics they discussed were all ones that Qiao's parents could easily engage with. This put Qiao's father at ease. As he chatted and drank, he ended up having a bit too much and spoke his mind, with a look of admiration. Qiao's father turned to Jiyu Baiyang and said slowly, "I have the utmost respect for soldiers who protect our country. I never imagined my son would marry the daughter of a military officer. That boy must have run a charity in his past life to have such good fortune in this one." Jiyu Baiyang clinked glasses with Qiao's father and smiled. "Qiao Yang is also outstanding. You've raised him well. That's precisely why I feel comfortable entrusting my daughter to his care. Don't worry." Father Qiao said with a stern face, "If Qiao Yang ever treats Shiyu poorly, you won't even need to lift a finger. I'll be the first to break his legs, then I'll drag him over to apologize with a bundle of twigs." Jiyu Baiyang, "No need to go that far." Qiao Yang immediately responded, "Dad, save your energy. That day will never come. He cherishes Jiyu Shiyu too much to ever mistreat her. He'd sooner give her his heart and soul. How could he possibly be anything but good to her?" After eating and drinking their fill, the Qiao family said their goodbyes, and Qiao Yang drove his parents home. The elderly Qiao couple would stay in Haicheng for a while, making it convenient to discuss wedding matters with the Jiyu family. As for the newlyweds' future home, Qiao Yang took Jiyu Shiu house hunting and bought a new 5-bedroom, 2-living-room apartment in the city center. The property was paid for in full by Qiao Yang and registered under both their names. Jiyu Shiu owns many properties, but none of them are suitable for a new family home. Unless it's a matrilocal marriage, few would choose to live in the woman's house. Moreover, as a company executive, Qiao Yang is skilled in investment and financial management. It's not like he lacks the ability to buy another new house. This new home, from the interior design and appliance arrangement to stocking up on pots, pans, and dishes, was all done by the two of them, hands-on, for Jiyu Shiu and Qiao Yang. This house holds a special meaning. This is the warm home they've always dreamed of. Extra, Jiyu Shiu Qiao Yang. 6 months later, Qingyang City, RW International Hotel. Today is an auspicious day for marriage, as Jiyu Shiu and Qiao Yang will hold their wedding ceremony and receive blessings from family and friends. The entire Jiyu family arrived in Qingyang City 2 days ago by private jet to attend Jiyu Shiu's wedding. Qingyang City is a 5th-tier small city with a very small urban scale and a relatively weak economic foundation. RW International Hotel is the only 5-star hotel in the area. On the wedding day, Shen Shuwei, Li Peizhi, and Shu Qing got up before dawn to accompany Jiyu Shiu in the dressing room, since it was a traditional Chinese wedding. They all prepared jewelry for Jiyu Shiu as additional bridal gifts. Li Peizhi prepared a complete set of diamond jewelry, While Shun Shui gave Jiyu Shiyu a sapphire jewelry set she had designed herself, Jiyu Shiyu smiled and took it, quickly expressing her gratitude. "Thank you, auntie, thank you. Sister-in-law." Li Peiji smiled affectionately and said, "These are just a small token of our affection. You are the little princess of our Jiyu family, and now that you're getting married, I really feel a bit reluctant to let you go." Hearing these words, Shu Qing, who was standing nearby, felt the reluctance she had barely suppressed well up from the depths of her heart again. Her eyes turning red, she used to frequently urge her daughter to go on blind dates, but now, on her daughter's wedding day, Shu Qing's heart was filled with reluctance and sorrow. Our daughter, raised for over 20 years, is now about to leave home and will live with Qiao Yang. The young couple starting their own little family, the apple of our eye, cherished in the palms of our hands, will soon become someone else's wife, another family's daughter-in-law. As her family, it's only natural to feel a deep sense of reluctance to let her go. This is simply human nature. Jiyu Shiyu wore a traditional Chinese wedding dress embroidered with golden dragon and phoenix patterns, her smooth black hair elegantly styled into a bun. Adorned with a dignified and exquisite pure gold phoenix hairpin inlaid with gemstones, her delicate face, accentuated by classic Chinese bridal makeup, exuded a gentle and charming aura, captivating everyone's attention. When the auspicious moment arrived, the wedding ceremony was about to begin. With a red bridal veil covering her head, Jiyu Shiyu was carried out of the room by Jiyu Ziyue, descending the stairs to the wedding banquet hall. All subsequent procedures followed the arrangements made by the wedding planning company. Qiao Yang and Jiyu Shiyu each held one end of the red silk embroidered ball. As the double doors of the banquet hall opened, the couple slowly walked into the wedding venue. The wedding venue was decorated in a traditional Chinese style, dominated by vibrant red hues. The space was adorned with numerous double happiness paper cuttings, red silk draping from the ceiling, and even the floral arrangements featured red blossoms. All the guests' eyes were fixed on the newlyweds. Due to the long distance, most of the attendees today were guests from the Qiao family. Many people believe that Qiao Yang has hit the jackpot by marrying a wealthy, beautiful heiress worth tens of billions, allowing him to skip decades of hardship. The Qiao family did not offer any explanations regarding these misunderstandings if the prenuptial agreement is mentioned. It's hard to guarantee that no one would think it was proposed by the woman's family. This would lead to Jiyu Shiyu being unjustly blamed. The Qiao family would rather let Qiao Yang bear the bad reputation of being called a freeloader, and it didn't matter to them, as long as we can stand tall with a clear conscience. The Qiao family has nothing to be ashamed of. After a while, Jiyu Shiyu and Qiao Yang will hold a Western-style wedding in Haicheng, where relatives and friends from the Jiyu family will attend this ceremony. Under the guidance of the wedding host, Jiyu Shiyu and Qiao Yang stood on the stage and performed the traditional bowing ceremony. First bow to heaven and earth, second bow to parents, and finally bow to each other as husband and wife. After the ceremony, the newlyweds returned to the dressing room, changed their clothes, and came back to the wedding banquet to toast the elders and guests. Jiyu Shiyu wore a cheongsam, her figure graceful and her delicate features exquisitely beautiful. Qiao Yang changed into a long gown, standing tall and handsome, his elegance peerless. Jiyu Shiyu held onto Qiao Yang's arm as they walked slowly to the main table. The couple knelt down together and served tea to the elders of both families in turn. Husband and wife become one. After the elders finished their tea and handed over red envelopes filled with blessings, they changed their previous forms of address. Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruoshi also formally changed their terms of address, calling Qiao Yang uncle. As night fell, Jiyu Shiyu and Qiao Yang went upstairs to the luxury suite on the top floor. On a red table in the living room, 2 glasses of red wine tied with red ribbon flowers were placed. Shiyu, this is the nuptial cup wine. Drinking this cup means we'll become one after marriage. Qiao Yang picked up the 2 cups of wine and handed one to Jiyu Shiyu. Jiyu Shiyu reached out to take the cup, smiling as she asked, "It seems we're supposed to drink it arm in arm." "Yes, that's right." Qiao Yang and Jiyu Shiyu sat facing each other on the sofa, their arms intertwined as they raised their cups and drank the nuptial cup wine together. Have all the wedding procedures been completed? Jiyu Shiyu set down her wine glass and lazily yawned. "I'm feeling a bit sleepy. There's still one, the most important one," Qiao Yang said. What else is there? Ji Shiu fought against her drowsiness and looked up at Qiao Yang in confusion. Qiao Yang leaned closer to Ji Shiu and said in a deep voice, "There's still the wedding night." Ji Shiu's cheeks flushed with a suspicious redness as she shyly buried her face in his embrace. "I'll go draw a bath for you. You're too tired today. A soak will help relieve your fatigue." Qiao Yang lowered his head to plant a kiss on her forehead before getting up and heading to the bathroom to fill the tub with warm water. After preparing the bath, Qiao Yang and Ji Shiu went into the bathroom together to soak. That night, the young couple deeply felt each other's affection. As the red quilt embroidered with mandarin ducks was constantly turned into waves of passion, the night was long, filled with lingering love, and their deep affection did not disappoint. Extra. Ji Shiu Qiao Yang. 3 months later, Ji Shiu noticed changes in her body. Her period was 10 days late and still hadn't come, so she bought a test strip to check, and the result was indeed positive. She was pregnant. That evening, when Qiao Yang returned from work, Ji Shiu showed him the photo of the pregnancy test strip. "What's this?" Qiao Yang was momentarily stunned, but then something dawned on him, his eyes lighting up. "Shiu, are you pregnant?" Ji Shiu nodded with a smile. "Yes, it seems so." "That's wonderful. I'm going to be a dad soon." A smile spread across his handsome face as he repeated this sentence several times, seeing Qiao Yang's joy. Ji Shiu chuckled softly and said gently, "Yes, we're about to become parents." This was the fruit of their love, and her heart was equally filled with immense joy. Qiao Yang reached out to embrace his delicate wife's shoulders and spoke to her in a gentle voice. "Shiu, I promise to take good care of you and our baby." Ji Shiu hugged him back and softly murmured a millimeter in his embrace. Since moving in with Qiao Yang after their marriage, Ji Shiu felt that every day was filled with happiness. He truly treated her very well. "How are you feeling? Any discomfort?" Qiao Yang gently led Ji Shiu to sit on the sofa, his voice warm with concern. Ji Shiu shook her head. "No, I feel the same as usual, it's just that my period didn't come. So I suspected there might be something and bought a test kit to check." Qiao Yang nodded gently. "That's good. I've heard many women experience morning sickness after getting pregnant. It's fortunate you're not feeling unwell." "Yes. My sister-in-law had terrible morning sickness during the first 3 months of both her pregnancies. It was heartbreaking to watch." Ji Shiu said. She must have had a really tough time then." Qiao Yang gently touched Ji Shiu's flat abdomen. "Are you hungry? Sit for a while. I'll go make you something delicious. Let me help wash and prepare the vegetables." Ji Shiu said as she started to stand up. No need, I can handle it. Just sit on the sofa, watch some TV. And enjoy some fruit. Dinner will be ready soon." Even under normal circumstances, Qiao Yang never let Ji Shiu cook, saying that kitchen fumes are bad for a woman's skin. Now that Ji Shiu is pregnant, Qiao Yang cherishes her even more and wouldn't dream of letting her do household chores. In about 40 minutes, Qiao Yang had prepared 4 home-style dishes: shrimp, fish, meat, and a plate of blanched greens, perhaps due to her pregnancy. Ji Shiu had an exceptionally good appetite tonight and finished all the food Qiao Yang had prepared. The next morning, Qiao Yang took leave from work to accompany Ji Shiu to the hospital for her prenatal checkup. After the doctor confirmed it, the couple shared the good news with their parents from both families. Upon learning that their daughter-in-law was pregnant, Mr. and Mrs. Qiao were overjoyed and repeatedly reminded Qiao Yang to take good care of Shiu. If Mrs. Qiao needed to come and take care of her pregnant daughter-in-law, Qiao Yang just had to say the word. Qiao Yang's parents were also sensible people. Although they cared deeply about their son and daughter-in-law, they wouldn't casually intrude on the young couple's peaceful life. Qiao Yang said to his parents, "If you have time, you can come and see her. As for other matters, I can handle them all, even if someone is needed to take care of her." Qiao Yang would first consider hiring a nanny to avoid any potential disagreements between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Moreover, his mother is not young anymore, and Qiao Yang doesn't want her to be so exhausted. As for the Ji family, everyone was pleasantly surprised upon hearing the news of Ji Shiu's pregnancy. Never expecting such good news so soon, Shu Qing was still in the military district of the border town and couldn't fly back to Haicheng immediately. Over the phone, she gave a lot of advice on precautions for pregnant women. Li Peizhi and Shen Shuwei brought a large pile of gifts. and the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law went to the Qiao family together. In addition to various supplements suitable for pregnant women, Shun Shui also prepared some pregnancy-related books for Jiyu Shiyu. As a first-time mother, during the initial pregnancy, apart from happiness and excitement, it's inevitable to feel some unease and confusion. Reading some pregnancy-related books would help Jiyu Shiyu better understand the changes happening to the baby in her belly at each stage. Jiyu Shiyu praised Shun Shui for being so thoughtful, even considering this detail. Shun Shui smiled gently and said, "If you have any questions in the future, feel free to ask me anytime. I've raised 3 children, so I have some experience to share." Li Peizhi also added, "You can call me anytime if you need anything. I'll come over whenever you need." Jiyu Shiyu smiled and nodded, saying, "Yes, okay." With so many family members caring for her, waves of warmth surged in Jiyu Shiyu's heart, soothing the tension of her pregnancy. During the late stages of Jiyu Shiyu's pregnancy, Xu Qing was truly too worried about her daughter. She ultimately left Jiyu Bohan behind and flew alone from the border city back to Haicheng. Xu Qing stayed at the Jiyu residence and visited the Qiao family every day to check on Jiyu Shiyu. Preparing her some nourishing soups and cooking her favorite dishes, Jiyu Shiyu and Qiao Yang's first baby was born on the Mid-Autumn Festival day, a very healthy boy. Since he was born on the evening of the Mid-Autumn Festival, the young couple gave their baby a name related to the moon, Qiao Qinghui, deep in the night. The river moon plays with clear radiance. From Ouyang Xiu, extra. 5 years later, time passed peacefully and happily, and in the blink of an eye, 5 years had gone by. On the day of Jiyu Ruochen and Jiyu Ruosh's 10th birthday, Shun Shui invited several close families to a seaside villa for a vacation. There were Jiyu Shiyu and Qiao Yang's family, Sheng Sangyu and Ji Jingzhan's family, Shun Rui and Ning Guani's family, and also Jiang Yi and Qin Shue's family. Qin Shue was Qin Wen's elder sister. Although they were full sisters sharing the same parents, Qin Shue's personality was completely different from Qin Wen's. The younger sister was spoiled by the elders and had always been a bold and unrestrained character. The elder sister, on the other hand, spoke softly and was a quiet, intellectual woman. One day, Qin Wen went to a bar with friends, drank too much, and ended up with a stomach hemorrhage that required hospitalization. Jiang Yi happened to be Qin Wen's attending physician, and that's how Qin Shue met him. After brief interactions, both developed mutual affection. After dating for a few months, they quickly got engaged and married, living happily ever after. Several families gathered together, with parents who were already close friends and children who had known each other for a long time. Everyone got together, and the atmosphere quickly became lively. The children played on the beach, while the adults lounged on beach chairs, sipping cold drinks, sunbathing, and chatting with friends nearby. Everyone is enjoying a relaxing vacation. After a while, Ji Yunkai walked over to the beach chair, his hands cupped together as if holding something. Ji Yunkai is the son of Sheng Sangyu and Ji Jingzhan, born in the same year as Jiyu Shiyu's son, both 5 years old this year. The 3-year-old girl following Ji Yunkai is his younger sister, Ji Yunji. The siblings walked over to Sheng Sangyu, and Ji Yunkai opened his palm to show his mother, saying in a clear voice, "Mom, I saw a little bird under that tree over there." Sheng Sangyu quickly looked at the tiny creature lying in her son's palm. "Oh dear, this little bird is so small and injured. Maybe its mother went out to find food, and the baby bird fell from the tree," Sheng Sangyu said softly. Ji Yunkai tilted his head, looking troubled as he asked, "What should we do then?" Sheng Sangyu thought for a moment and said, "Let's take the little bird back to the villa, disinfect its wound, and bandage it up." At this point, the other children all gathered around. Hearing that they were going to save the little bird, the kids were all very interested and eagerly said they wanted to go along. With so many children following along, Sheng Sangyu definitely couldn't keep an eye on all of them. The others also stood up, and everyone walked back to the villa together. After returning to the villa, Shun Shui suddenly remembered there was a doctor among them on this trip. When it comes to treating wounds, doctors are still more skilled at it. "Jiang Yi, you're a doctor. Wouldn't it be better to leave the wound treatment to you?" Shunsha smiled warmly as she looked at Jiang Yi. "I am a doctor, but I'm not a veterinarian." As soon as Jiang Yi finished speaking, Qin Shui immediately poked him in the side. He quickly corrected himself. "Fine, I'll do it. It's just a little thing." I refuse to believe I can't handle it. The others noticed Qin Shui's subtle gesture too. And they struggled to suppress their laughter, not daring to make a sound. Several grown men present, just like Jiangyi, have actually become henpecked husbands after marriage. Even after having children, they still prioritize their wives above all else. However, they would never admit to being henpecked. They call it respecting and cherishing their wives, because having met someone they truly love, the rest of their lives have taken on a whole new meaning. Thank you for watching. This story has come to an end. We appreciate everyone who followed along, and we'll see you in the next one.